6262, the Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
What a weekend for sports. Tension, excitement, ups, downs, emotions, elation, heartbreak, you name it, it had it all. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. It's Maz in for Barney this week. For the next 3 hours, we're talking sports right here on 620 CKRM. We're also streaming what we're doing on X and on our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Yesterday, wow, roller coaster, or should I say a Rory roller coaster of emotion if you were watching the Masters. I don't watch a ton of golf, but the final round of the Masters is a must watch no matter who's playing. But yesterday, it just seemed all that much more intriguing. It was Rory McIlroy versus the field. Rory versus the haters on social media. Rory versus the course. And then finally, probably the most intriguing story is Rory versus Rory. Rory the golfer versus Rory the guy that's in his head that has had all sorts of trouble at Augusta. He's been trying to exercise his demons at Augusta and finally win his first green jacket and complete the golf Grand Slam. And it's eluded him. 2014 was the last time he had a sniff. The golf Grand Slam hadn't been won in 25 years since Tiger did it back in 2000. And once they finally teed off and Rory double bogeyed the first hole, I felt closer to Rory than I ever have before, right? I don't golf all that much, but when I do, we've all been there, right? First hole, bad start, double bogey. Sometimes a triple bogey. Maybe you're taking a 7, an 8. You've lost a couple of balls. It could be a bad day on the course. It was a tough start. Bryson DeChambeau, all of a sudden, he had the lead, and Rory had to battle back. And he did. And he was cruising. He got the lead back, and then he looked solid to be like, no, different Rory. No choking this time. It's all good. He is cool and calm and in control, and then he chunked it in the water at 15. And this is the beginning of the end for Rory. Now, at the same time, when he chunks it at 15 into the drink, Justin Rose is getting hot. And then fast forward to the 18th green. And this is at the point, and my wife was watching at the same time too. I was nervous. She was nervous. A chance to outright win the Masters, and Rory can make history. And he misses that putt. What was that, like 3 feet? And then it's off to a playoff. And at this point, and I don't know, were you the same? Rory, you had your chance and you blew it. Now I want Justin Rose in an incredible comeback. Because what Rory had, like, how many double bogeys throughout the week? And there's stats about no one with 4 double bogeys that ever won. But finally, in that playoff hole, he dials it back in. Rory wins the Masters, the 89th edition, completes the Grand Slam, gets his green jacket. His family is back together. I didn't even know that him and his wife had started divorce proceedings because there's rumors of him and the lady that works at CBS. They're having a fling and was the cause of said divorce, but all is good. And then the tears and then the walk to the scoring tent. You had to feel good. And that was the best part. And collectively, I think that all the weight that's now off Rory's shoulders, he's probably going to be cool as a cucumber going forward because he did it. The 6th player to win the Grand Slam. Hey, the Sports Cage is brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or a well without electricity. You can visit kellensolar.com and find out more for your livestock operation. It's a busy show today. Besides golf, a lot of hockey. Guest number 1 coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Ben Tompkins, play-by-play voice of the Melfort Mustangs. Speaking of cool as a cucumber, the Mustangs are just hanging out, waiting for the winner of Flin, Flon, and Weyburn. And tonight, Game 6 in Weyburn. Weyburn can send Flin, Flon home, or Flin, Flon can send it back for Game 7. In about an hour's time, Eric Francis, our NHL insider, these Calgary Flames, they just won't go away. They've been written off how many times all season, and yet again, the last night they beat San Jose. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot with 2 games to go. Double Talk with Darian Durant, a Monday staple. That'll happen just after 5. And Rob Hart, who is the Flin Flon Bombers play-by-play guy. We're going to catch up with him around 5:30. He's getting ready for the game tonight at the Crescent Point Energy Center in Weyburn, but we'll have a quick check with him. All right, Twitter poll before we get to our first break. Yeah, Flames, 2 points out, 2 games to go. Destiny, the team of destiny. I don't know. Twitter poll, do they make the Stanley Cup playoffs? Yes or no? I think so far the yeses have it. You can vote at Sportscage when you're there. Give us a follow. All right, break number 1 here on the show. When we come back, Ben Tompkins will join us, Melfort Mustangs play-by-play guy, and we're going to ask him. I want to go back about 11 months, and we're going to start there. We'll do that next. It is the Sportscage. We are streaming and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Mountie up. Steel Panther and Buck Cherry present the Northern Exposure Tour. She's got the eyes on April 29th, 7:30 p.m. Connexus Arts Center. Hey, y'all crazy bitch, but Steel Panther and Buck Cherry. 1987. On sale now at connexusartscenter.ca. Don't miss Steel Panther and Buck Cherry together live. See you at the center.
Bidding is now open for the Timed Online Farm and Livestock Equipment Auction for CK Parity Farms Limited of Storthoak, Saskatchewan. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, a John Deere 9100 4-wheel drive, John Deere 5095 front-wheel assist tractor, a John Deere 9760 combine, Case Puma 140 front-wheel assist, international tandem grain truck, plus a ton of livestock equipment. Thinking of an auction? Call the Saskatchewan Farm Auctioneers today. Bidding closes this Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m.
Do you have a safety program or OHS committee? Call Campbell Safety. Harassment in the workplace? Call Campbell Safety. Don't know if you have a proper safety program? Call Campbell Safety. Once you have an injury, it's too late to have a safety program. Be proactive with Campbell Safety Consulting. They'll come out and customize your safety program and be that extra set of eyes you need. 35 years experience doing health and safety, and they have seen it all, and then some. Call them today and get a free consultation. Campbell Safety Consulting.
The Keniston Super Draft is back with the 2025 NHL Playoff Draft. Over $80,000, over 200 cash winners, and 3 ways to win. With more Canadian teams than we've seen in the postseason in a while, will you be elbows up and riding one of those teams? There are a number of ways to get in on the action. 1 entry for $40, or go in with some buddies and get 7 entries for just $200. And the Super 8 add-on is back for even more playoff fun. The Keniston Super Draft, sponsored by the Keniston Lions. Deadline is Tuesday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. Central Time. Superdraft.com.
If your garage door is running a little rough, you don't need to be talked into something that you don't need.
Sir, what you need is the new gigantic-esque, voluminous, astronomical, ginormous, gargantuan, exquisite air garage.
Just call Busy Bee Doors, the local experts who have been in business for many, many doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Wait. With me, you get a little garage door keychain, please.
Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
If it's happening in sports in Saskatchewan, we've got it covered on Sportscage. Be part of the show. Call 936-6262 or toll free 1-866-767-0620. On your radio at 620 CKRM and online at sportscage.com.
The NHL playoffs start this weekend. That means the Keniston Super Draft is back for the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's over $80,000 in prize money this year. All you got to do is select 32 players, $40 to enter, 3 entries for $100, or the best deal, 7 entries for $200. So let's say you and some friends, maybe it's your beer league team, you're getting together with the guys you actually like. If there's 20 guys on the team, don't tell me you like the other 19. It just doesn't work that way. You pick that core other 6 besides you, $200, you're all in. And this year, to go along with not only the $80K in prize money, there's also the Super 8 add-on with a chance to win $10K. But I get it. You're holding out because you got to know, are the Calgary Flames getting into the playoffs, or is it going to be the St. Louis Blues? Because if the Blues are the team of destiny like they were in 2019 and they go all the way, there's probably going to be some scoring. So like a Robert Thomas and a Jordan Kyrou, great. But if they don't make it in, and you've already filled out your bracket, so I get it. You're waiting. It'll all unfold here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Superdraft.com. But if you're like, I wouldn't take a blue if you paid me, and you've already got your lineup set, go nuts. It's Maz in for Barney. As always, if you want to be part of the show, the Prairieland Rentals text line is 306-936-6262. Anything big happen over the weekend? Apparently, there's some controversy going on at Century Studios today, which we'll get into a little later in the show. People are upset, and we're going to dig into as of why. All right, let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. We'll bring in our first guest. He is the play-by-play voice of the Melfort Mustangs in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. They've already sealed their spot in the SJHL final. They're awaiting the winner of the Flin Flon Bombers and the Weyburn Red Wings. Let's say hello to Ben Tompkins. Ben, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good. No, awesome to be here. First time, so I'm excited.
All right, so I want to go back to May 19th, 2024. You probably remember the day. The Melfort Mustangs lose the Centennial Cup 1-0 to Collingwood, the Blues. What were the emotions like after that hockey game? Because we followed the adventure of the Mustangs all the way through the Centennial Cup, and then they make it to the final only to lose, and it was 1-0. What was that like?
Yeah, I think they tell you as a broadcaster not to get emotionally involved, but it was really hard not to. There was a lot of tears, but there was a lot of pride. I mean, tied the best season in Melfort Mustangs franchise history with a, national final berth. And I'm sure any team in Canada, if you said you're going to get a crack at the national gold, you're going to take it, even if you lose. But yeah, it was a lot of tears. It was a very quiet bus ride back to the hotel for sure. But I think once we got over that first hour of disappointment that you were a goal away from bringing it to overtime and anything can happen, then I think pride started to settle in. We obviously had a good time at the hotel that night and then had to fly right back, and the community greeted us so well. But yeah, it was tough. It was heartbreaking. It was the biggest game of for me, for any of the players, for the coaches, it was the biggest game you can dream of. It's the final game of the year. There's nothing after that, so to lose it is tough. But I think there's obviously lots of pride in making it, being second best out of 156 teams.
So with that, getting that close, but not achieving the goal, and Melfort returned a lot of players this year. Is there unfinished business? And did you see something from the start of training camp to make you think that there are some players here that think that, no, we still got a job to complete that we didn't last year?
Without a doubt. If there was two words to describe this season, it was unfinished business, 100%. Even a week after we lost, it was, guys who were coming back. They wanted to get there. They wanted to do it again. And I haven't ever seen a more determined team, from the start of training camp. There's a reason we, basically went wire to wire and first set a franchise record in wins. It was, we weren't overlooking the SJHL season by any means, but, it's weird to say out of all 12 teams, I think we came in with the biggest chip on our shoulder, which, typically as a champion, you don't come in with a chip on your shoulder, but absolutely all the guys that were there, even the guys that have gone on and, I've talked to and continue to stay with the team and watch and whatnot. It's absolutely, it was, we have to win because we're getting back. And if we get in that game again, we're not going to lose again. There's not a chance. So absolutely unfinished business would be the perfect way to put it for sure.
Trevor Blevins, coach, it starts there. What makes him so special? Why is there such a connection with that team and the community?
Well, I mean, hometown boy, played for the Mustangs. He was exactly the player he wants as a coach when he played, 20, 30 years ago. It's, hardworking, community oriented, just not going to lose a battle, going to lay it all out on the line. It's, and I think the players buy into that because he's been there, done that as a player. But, if you don't buy in after last year, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Clearly his motto works, his program works. He respects the players. He's honest with the players. He demands a lot out of them, but if you give it to him, he rewards you for sure. And he's the old old school coach where, he thinks he's too hard on the players, but he's really not. He always works that line to perfection. He wants the best out of you, but he's not gonna, he's not gonna grill you. But he knows, and the players know what's expected of them and what they can give. So I think it's kind of the perfect line for sure that he's able to walk and just gets the best out of everyone.
Now, with so many teams in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, and we're kind of like try and be the conduit to all, and we don't necessarily play favorites. So on that Melfort roster, who are some of the stars that, they're going to go to the final and they end up Centennial Cup, and we're watching who makes it happen night in, night out for the Mustangs?
This is going to be a cop-out answer, but everyone. I think our team is different than last year. Not that we didn't have depth. We had, a ton of injuries throughout the season and through playoffs, and guys had to step up and they did. But talking with the coach and even assistant coach Ty Sugar, he had to rely a lot on the Hutchinson, Sleva, Duguay line, the Olofsson and Friedmore on the back end, and of course Ben and net. And I'm not saying we don't have guys like that this year, but the way he said he can roll out any line, anytime, and there's no nerves, there's no worry like, are they going to get it done? Are they going to get scored on? Are they going to be able to generate any chances? Yeah, you have the Riley Kotais, who's top scorer, and the Nick Andrusiak's defenseman in the year, and obviously they're most skilled guys in the leagues for sure. But I think the fact that everyone can be out there, our third line was out against Yorkton's top line every time in round 2, and they got shut down. It's just everyone knows how to do their job and they can step up, and more guys will get more points, of course, because they're a little bit more skilled and they might get a little bit more ice time. But there's no guys on the team that are going to be a minus on the regular and couldn't score a big goal in a big time.
Ben Tompkins, play-by-play voice of the Melfort Mustangs, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We're talking about the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. So the Mustangs are in the final. They're awaiting Flin, Flon, Weyburn. That'll be Game 6 tonight in Weyburn. We're going to get more into that as the show goes on. Now, you said Melfort wire to wire this year, and it has been. But along the way, although there a lot of wins, more wins than losses, there had to have been some adversity or things to overcome. What did the team have to deal with? Because it's not like you went on a 15-game losing streak or anything like that. But from your perspective, what were some of the things that they had to overcome as a group?
So it was different this year in the fact that, it wouldn't be a 2 or a 3 or 4 game losing streak, but it would be bad periods. We'd, play 5 games in a row where, we only played 40 minutes of hockey. So I think the way we responded in games, look at our record in 1-goal games, like 18-1 or something ridiculous. It was the fact that, we would get down, we would give up the first goal, we would, trail into the second period, or we, get outplayed for 15 minutes and then score late to tie it. It was just things like that where it was more adversity game by game, not a stretch of games. And yeah, we'd have big guys go out, or, we'd have calls not go our way, or a bad bounce, or a bad turnover or whatever. But it was the fact of, I've never seen a team change so much from period to period. We'd play a horrible first period. I don't know what Blevs or Shugs would tell them in the intermission, but all of a sudden we'd come out and we'd look like a completely different team. And in junior hockey, that's rare. You get down, you get frustrated, you get down on yourself, you just kind of give up. But we really look like a professional team where we wouldn't allow ourselves to play a full 60 minutes of poor effort. It would be a stretch, and we'd fix it right away. And sometimes, we wouldn't have time to come back. And a loss is a loss. But Blevins has talked the whole way. It's not always about the wins or the losses. It's about how you win, how you lose. And I don't think there was a lot of games this year where we lost, where we weren't in it, at least for a point of the game.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Is there a loss that comes to mind where you end up losing, but the learning or the benefit down the road 1, 2, 3, 4 games later really paid dividends, where it was kind of like, oh, that's exactly the shock that we needed to get us going?
I think every time we lost, because I'm not trying to brag. Obviously it wasn't a lot this year, but every time we lost, we'd respond. We'd realize what we did wrong, what the boys did wrong. They'd understand, and every loss was a lesson. I know that sounds cliche, but it really was, because they were far and few between, and sometimes we had to get humbled. Like, for example, when we were 17-game winning streak, we go into Battlefords there, we have a chance to, break the modern record. We tied it, which is awesome, but they were more desperate. They wanted that game more. They played lights out, and it was a close game, but we lost. And I think we lost in Yorkton, or I guess didn't lose in the Yorkton, but we lost a week later in some game. I forget against who. Sorry, not trying to take a shot there at Yorkton, but just the fact that it was like, we had the target on our backs, and sometimes we had to be taken off our pedestal or a mantle, but it didn't last long.
If you're watching the stream, Ben Tompkins, I can see that there's a guitar in the background. I'm going to ask you about that in just a second. You may have to pick that up. Anyways, Weyburn,
No.
Flin Flon. Weyburn is up 3-2. You've seen these teams all year. A lot of us, last week when we were doing the preview of this, there was three of us. There was me, Dave, and Jamie, and it was just a matter of how many games it was going to take for Flin Flon to beat Weyburn. And it wasn't 6 or 7, and nobody thought that the Red Wings were ever going to go up 3-0. Why has Weyburn been able to win these 3 games? What makes them... You got to be good to be still playing at this time of year. What, in your mind, makes Weyburn good? Why have they been so effective?
Honestly, I think it's very similar to what we did against Flin Flon in the finals last year. Flin Flon was the cream of the crop all year. They were expected to go to the Centennial Cup. I think they were ranked number 1 in the country for a while there, and it's just something where if you get in there and you kind of get them down early, sometimes it's tough for them to respond. And Whitney Forum is not easy to play in, but when you get the crowd out of it early and you keep them out of there, it doesn't feel like an away game anymore. Because I don't want to say they get quiet, but they're loud when things are going good. They got momentum. They're roaring. They're damn near impossible to stop. But when you kind of get in on them early, when you don't play into their hands, when you just out battle them in what is a very tight rink, then you can kind of get in their heads, and it's tough for them to come back. So I think Weyburn was just more prepared, maybe the more hungry team to start, and they used their speed, they used their skill, and obviously Zoll played great as well. Flin Flon throws a lot of pucks on the net, so if you're giving up rebounds, it can be a long night. But if you keep them to the outside, then typically you're in pretty good shape.
Bigger problem to stop, the Flin Flon offense or Matt Keeper in net? Or both?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously they got extreme weapons up front, guys like Keith Gerner and even Liam Hunks on the back end, who they added from Notre Dame. I mean, you saw Keeper's, numbers. Flin Flon was, I think, 3-6 to start the year. They didn't look good. He comes in and he's 24-2, 1-1 or something. So when he's hot, he's hot. I mean, it is hard to stop him. There's a reason he was obviously in the dub at one point, but I would lean Keeper just because, I think for stretches he can be, the best player in the league for 2 weeks. And yeah, that Flin Flon offense is hard to stop and it keeps coming at you, but I think he can figure it out. Sometimes you'll play Flin Flon and, you get a lot of shots on net, but, you can't force the goalie not to make some ridiculous saves. Like, you can put all on him, but if he's going, then you just kind of have to tip your cap at that point.
All right, so you're patiently waiting. Flin Flon and Weyburn, they'll play Game 6 tonight in Weyburn. If the Red Wings happen to win tonight, then it's Melfort, Weyburn in the final. If not, Flin Flon, Game 7, Whitney Forum, like you said, tough place to play. All right, Ben Tompkins, play-by-play with voice of the Melfort Mustangs. What's your favorite rink in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League to call a game in? For 2 reasons. One, these can be different answers. Press box being one, pregame meal being other. Okay, so press box, pregame meal, because some do great at one and horrible at others.
It's honestly we get the same pregame meal every time. It's the chicken and rice and vegetables, so it's hard to mess that up, I guess. So I'll say that every place I've gone, or at least that we've done a pregame meal at, it's worked. So press box, the one in Estevan's. Pretty nice just because you get a whole side to yourself. Obviously, it's a brand new rink, and the boys can be up there with me. As far as atmosphere, though, I have to go either at home or in Flin Flon because it's fun to be the away guy. I only get to do home games on the radio in the playoffs, but when the Palace is packed, when it's sold out, it's a fun place to be. And when you're not just yelling by yourself when your team scores, when the whole building's erupting, it's a pretty awesome for sure. It's hard to go against the home crowd.
Having done a little bit of hockey play-by-play earlier in my career, when you think it's a huge responsibility, like you have the immense responsibility to paint that picture to everybody that is listening and hang on every word when it comes to hockey. All right, so let's see, what's the bus ride from Melfort to Flin Flon? What are we looking at there?
4 hours on a good day, 4.5 probably normally.
Okay, and then Weyburn, it's about 3.
4 hours. I would
about
say
4 hours. Way better highway if you're going to Weyburn, and a KFC with a buffet. Although you guys are eating chicken and rice. Now, if you said it was KFC and rice, that's a different story. But I don't know if it's in the hockey rink. So that guitar behind you, can you actually play that?
No, not very well. I got it as a gift a while ago, and I have yet to take lessons. So I probably should hit it a little more. It's just decoration right now.
Well, hey, if it does the trick, like I still remember, everybody tried to learn how to play Smoke on the Water. Now, for the Double C's who are producing the show and yourself, I know you guys are a little younger, big song from the 70s, but apparently that's what everybody tried to learn when they got an acoustic guitar was Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. I'm not going to ask you to play that. Maybe Night Train by Jason Aldean if you did. I don't know. That'd be great. All right. So what do you do now to kill time? Because let's see, if it goes to 7, let's see, game 7 would be, if it's Monday, would game 7 be Wednesday? And then hopefully the final is going to kick off on the weekend. Is that sort of how the mock schedule is laid out for the final to get rolling this weekend?
Yeah, that should how it be. Would be games. Regardless, I think we're going Friday, Saturday at home. But yeah, I believe game 7 would be Wednesday. That's how it worked for us, anyways. Last year when we played Humboldt, it was a pretty quick turnaround. So.
All right. And if we don't like that, we'll just call Kyle McIntyre and say, this doesn't work for us. Can we just move this a couple of days? There's a lot going on, I think the
boys are ready to get going.
Okay.
We've been idle for a while.
Did you watch the Masters yesterday?
Yes. If I didn't, I think I should go to jail. It's a must watch.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you. So, Rory, it was a roller coaster, but when he missed on 18, I wanted to know, okay, does karma and the gods, should they reward you for missing a putt that short, and going to extra holes? I'm off the Rory train. I don't know. If Justin Rose wins, Justin Rose is hot. He deserves it. But Rory got it together. What were your thoughts? Team Rory or the field?
Well, I was just because it's obviously history, and he had battled that for so long. Obviously, his collapse in 2011. Hadn't won a major since 2014. So, absolutely, I was Team Rory. But yeah, once he missed that putt on 18, I didn't think he was gonna win. I didn't think he deserved to win. But even look at the couple of shots before that, right? He had the shot on 15. He had the shot on 17. The ridiculous bending outs where he's got an eagle putt or a birdie. He missed both. It just seemed like a game, man. Your putter's letting you down. You can't get 4 double bogeys and win a Masters. You can't miss 5-foot putts after these heroic shots. It seemed like moments that were made for TV, and then it was just kind of a letdown. In all honesty, it was almost anticlimactic by the end, but it was so much emotion that it still made up for a great moment.
It made for some great TV. If you're all I wanted, because making up scenarios in my head, Jim Nantz, who's the best? Wouldn't it have been great if all of a sudden on that 18th hole, Tony Romo all of a sudden appears and screams out the play before it happens, just as Nance is finishing a syllable, just over the top to go from there. All right, so let's switch back to hockey. Our Twitter poll question: Flames 2 points out, 2 games left. Do they make the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's too little, too late. Which again might be a cop-out answer, but St. Louis, they might be the team of destiny like they were in 2019. Obviously, the Wild, you feel for them and losing Kaprizov early in the year. But I don't know. I think it would be a fun playoff matchup for sure, and especially for a Jets team that has something to prove in the playoffs. That would be a fun Canadian battle. But yeah, I don't know. There was times, I think, a couple weeks ago where, Calgary, all of a sudden they're coming up and then they lose a couple. They're coming up, they lose a couple. It's almost like that Rory thing, but the Rory thing seems more destined, I guess, because it was so long. This Calgary team, like, are they skilled enough to be in the playoffs? Dustin Wolf has been playing great. I get it, they're a gritty team, but it's like, is making the playoffs a good thing?
Well, they're stuck in the murky middle, and they've screwed themselves for a good draft pick. All right, so we'll wrap on this. If you've got skin in the game, who's your NHL teamer? Who are you? If you were in Vegas right now, who are you putting money on? Oh, and how can you not feel great about Gabriel Landeskog and scoring that goal on the weekend? Like, nobody's adding punch to their lineup. Like, if he comes back, and there's nothing to say that he shouldn't be able to. Wow, what? Not only talent-wise, but what a shot in the arm. Hasn't played since June 2022. Gabriel Landeskog. All right. Ben Tompkins. Let's do this again. Play-by-play guy. Voice of the Melfort Mustangs right here on the Sportscage. We're the voice of local sports in Saskatchewan. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Sportscage on 620 CKRM.
I hate when my power's out. It doesn't matter if it's a storm, accident, or planned outage. Losing power is frustrating. But you can keep your lights on with a Generac standby generator from Croft Electric. Even when your neighbors are sitting in the dark, a Generac standby generator can power your home. Don't let power outages ruin your day. Get your home a Generac standby generator from Croft Electric. Financing now available. CroftElectric.com. It'll be take me out to the ball game or take me down to the rink before you know it. And Extreme Hockey and Sport will have you ready for everything this season. You'll be all set for the ball diamond with team kits, bats, gloves, accessories, and training products in stock. And of course, they've got everything to get you geared up for spring hockey. Whatever your spring sport is, Extreme Hockey has you covered. 1425 McIntyre Street and the Pro Shop, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at ReginaRedSox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox Baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
Are you ready for your garage packages? Freeze Tallman can help. When choosing your building materials, go for a local family-run Saskatchewan business instead of those other guys. They offer a variety of garage packages that suit your needs and fully customizable. Support the folks who keep it close to home. They can even install it for you, now taking bookings. When planning your next building project, think Freeze Tallman. Freeze Tallman, let's get you building.
From the SAS Today newsroom, here's what's making news in Saskatchewan.
Make sure you are ready to vote. You should have received your voter information card in the mail by now, but if not, check with Elections Canada.
SAS Today's team of local journalists are on the ground focusing on local topics that matter to you. Sign up for our daily news digest, making the news even easier to access. SAStoday.ca. Everybody has a story. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. Back to Sportscage. Text 306-936-6262. 620 CKRM.
Play-by-play voice of the Melfort Mustangs coming on the show. Exciting. I think last year was his first year calling Mustangs hockey, and you go all the way to the Centennial Cup final, but you lose 1-0 to Collingwood, to the Blues. And I said unfinished business, and he said there was 2 words, unfinished business. Can't wait. Tonight, Flin, Flon, Weyburn, 7 o'clock, face-off in Weyburn, Crescent Point Energy Place. Rob Hart, play-by-play voice of the Flin, Flon Bombers, will join us at about 5:30 this afternoon on this show. It is Monday, and that means double talk with Darian Durant. But one of the things I don't necessarily know we've done a very good job of is giving you, fans of Rider Nation, the chance to interact with Darian. So if you have questions for Darian today, we talk a little bit about stuff, but we'll get to fan questions. If there's anything you've wanted to know, maybe a play, an interaction, a game, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. If you have questions for Darian, we'll do double talk just after 5, and we'll get to those. 306-936-6262. Because there's things that we talk about, but maybe there's a question you've been dying to ask him for. See, when did he start playing with the Riders? 2007, 2025. It's been 18 years. Okay. So if Darian, double talk, fan questions today. It's Maz in for Barney along with the double C's, Colson and Curtis, producing the show at Century Studios. But apparently, it's been an intense morning because there have been some changes at the office since Friday. People are not happy. I'm getting messages through Microsoft Teams. There was a call. I'm not part of any group text, as we found out weeks ago. No text. That's fine. I'm used to it. What is up, and why are you guys so on tilt that your day is ruined?
Well, there's a very cliche saying that people do when they work at an office, especially on like a Monday or something. They're like, "Hey, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee." And today was a very tragic day for me because I learned that we recently got rid of our coffee machines. So the old mug, she's empty. And it was very upsetting for me.
You mean, okay, so that fancy coffee machine we have in the kitchen, and it made like a million different drinks, like a lot of them do now, but it made like a nice, I just drink black coffee now. Since I don't have dairy anymore, I used to love coffee, real cream, heavy cream, like the heavy, but I don't. So it made a nice black coffee. So now that's gone. So next time I'm in the office, so that's gone.
It's gone. They did replace it with like a smaller drip machine, but by the time I went to go and grab one, there was no coffee, and I was kind of in a rush, so I just left. It was upset. And the funny thing too is today's like not actually too bad. It's for Regina weather. It's warming up here, and like the ice is melting. And I was like, you know what? Today, maybe I'll treat myself. Maybe I'll go for like the first iced coffee of the season, the summer drink of choice. I was like, nah, I'm just going to go to the office and get the old usual because it's there, right? I should use it. Apparently it's not. It's not there, Maz.
So do we know why? Okay, so they cut off the cable like a couple of months ago, which we eventually got back. I don't know if that was because we were talking about it on the air. So is there reasons why the coffee machine, the fancy coffee machine, was taken away? Because it was fancy. Like, it was probably the best coffee machine I'd ever been around.
I don't know. They don't tell me the big picture things here. They don't let me know.
I know, but office gossip is not hard to find. Like, and if you take away the coffee, because it's funny, each workplace, if there are perks left, coffee, if that's one of them, and it is, and it's a major change. So we went from the fancy individual per cup machine. Now it's back to like drip coffee, like you make a pot and like pour from the pot like it's 1980 and then put the pot back under the thing.
Yeah, but like I think before we got our big coffee machine, we had one where like it was like the jugs where you can like drip into it and then it's like in a thermos, so you can go and you can just like get a cup when you need to.
Sure.
A little bit more bigger quantity. Now it's just like one glass one where it's like, oh, if 2-3 people go and get a cup, now you gotta brew some more kind of thing.
Oh no! So now you got to be the conscious of you can't take the last cup and not make a pot. Colson, now where do you weigh in on this? I don't know if I've ever seen you drink coffee. Does this not affect you? Because you're not a coffee guy, right?
This does not affect me.
Of course it doesn't.
Coffee. Nope.
Of course it doesn't. So you don't care.
No.
So the
day you see me drinking an actual cup of coffee is you go, what has gone wrong with the world? What is on fire that needs to be put out right now? Because I've only had like 3 or 4 cups of coffee in my life, and those are all circumstances where something was going wrong and I needed the boost, or I was working like 20 plus hours.
I've had 3 to 4 cups of coffee today alone, let alone not in a lifetime. So coffee is one of the hardest things to give up. And if it's just black, that's one thing, but caffeine. So, and the other thing too is there's so many people that are so far down that path of their drink has some sort of coffee in it, but then there's milk and there's sugar, or there's the sauces, or there's the iced coffee. Like it just gets such a path. But just to go straight to, because I'm just thinking, going, I don't think I've ever seen Colson have coffee, so he probably doesn't care. Curtis is dying over here, and you could care less. I love this. It's like the Gen Xers are battling each other because it's my feelings are hurt, and you're over here going, I don't even have any feelings at all. Take that.
It's yin and yang, perfectly balanced, But yeah, I was crashing out in the break room. I was like, where'd the coffee machine go, Jennifer? Where'd it go? And then, so...
Be nice to Jennifer. She's in accounting. So if you have expenses or you want to get paid, you got to be nice to her, or all of a sudden magically it's kind of like, don't be mean to her.
I also think we're Gen Z, not Gen X.
Are you guys Gen Z?
Yeah, depends on.
No, I'm Gen X. Yo, millennials.
Depends on who you ask, because I might make the cut for millennial sometimes, and then sometimes I don't. So, Gen Z's probably the most reliable one you could pick, and also Darian started playing for the Riders in 2006 because he got.
Oh yeah, that's right, and then. He was on he was like super backup for the 07. I knew he was part of the 07 team because he got a ring, but like he didn't play. Okay. Well, all right. So I don't know, like if Curtis is just going to, like, what do the kids call it? Raw dog the rest of the show with no coffee and just have to just
That's exactly
grin and
what
bear
I'm going to do, Maz. Exactly what I'm going to do. And then
okay, all right.
I'm going to come up with some kind of solution, like whether that be I hide like a secret coffee maker just for me somewhere, like maybe I'll put one in the Sportscage studio, whatever it takes.
Oh, there's a lot of places, and I've worked at radio stations before where certain people, certain DJs, or if they were famous enough, they had their own fridge in their office, their own coffee maker. Like they would not interact with the rest of the staff. They had to have their own stuff, like on an elitist level. And it's a good thing Barney's away this week, because since this hasn't affected him yet, we haven't really seen the full fallout of what the coffee situation may turn into at work. Because he's not there, it doesn't affect him yet.
Yeah, but when I used to do, I did some engineering stuff on the back end. I had my own shop and office, and I was one of those people. I had my own coffee maker in the back. I didn't tell anyone about, and I had a fridge where I put all my creamer and stuff in it. But somehow I didn't even know this was a thing until it happened to me. But the fridge started leaking oil. I didn't know that like fridges used oil, but yeah, it's like in the compressor in it and whatnot.
Yeah, in the compressor in the motor. That's why. Have you not been told, like, so if you ever are transporting anything with a motor in it, you never lay it down. It's got to stay upright. Like people, that's why the fridge needs to stay upright in the back of the pickup, because lay it down, the compressor motor and the oil, you're done for.
Yeah, it was a gift. It was a gift. It was somebody else's fridge, and then they gave it to me, and then I unplugged it for a little bit because I was moving some stuff around, and then it just started leaking oil, and I was like, I don't want this fridge anymore, and had to make it disappear. But you know how it is.
All right. So, well, now that we know what we're battling at the radio station today, and people out there going, wow, if that's the toughest part of your day for what some people are doing, earning a paycheck today.
Soft hands, brother, soft hands.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to let everybody regroup, pull themselves together. When we come back, it was an interesting weekend in the NHL. We will get Eric Francis on after 4, but we're going to dive into this. Winnipeg Jet fans, you're the President's Cup champions. And apparently, I read this isn't the curse that I thought it was. We'll dive into that next. The Sports Cage is streaming on our YouTube channel at sportscage.com, and we're on the radio at 620 CKRM.
The Keniston Super Draft is back with the 2025 NHL Playoff Draft. Over $80,000, over 200 cash winners, and 3 ways to win. What teams does a person ride this year? Or will taking a couple of snipers from each team be the strategy this time around? There are a number of ways to get in on the action. 1 entry for $40, or go in with some buddies and get 7 entries for just $200. And the Super 8 add-on is back for even more playoff fun. The Keniston Super Draft, sponsored by the Keniston Lions. Deadline is Tuesday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. Central Time. Superdraft.com.
I'm Fraser Tolmie, and I'm running for re-election as your Conservative Party candidate for Moose Jaw Lake Centre Lanigan. Our Conservative team is fighting for you and your family. For 10 years, the Liberal government has ignored the struggles of everyday Canadians. Rising gas prices, higher food costs mean less money in your pocket. We will axe the Liberal carbon tax for good and fix the budget so you can bring home powerful paychecks. We're fighting for you. We're fighting for Saskatchewan. We're fighting for Canada. Let's bring it home.
Authorized by the official agent for Fraser Tolmie.
Oh, finally. There it is.
Whoa, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features. And so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Quipel. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
Bessie and I hate automotive waste dumped into our back 40. There's not an endless supply of oil and plastics, so it's very clever of you to recycle automotive waste properly. All that yucky used oil and antifreeze material can be turned into reuseful products. Please make automotive waste reuseful. Visit usedoilrecyclingsk.com. Mother Nature, our land, and our whole herd. Thank you.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at reginaredsox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
Hey, we're Harvard Media. A few times a year, we love to get together with our favorite businesses and throw a good old-fashioned classic auction. Whoa! There's nothing like waiting until the last minute, battling out other bidders, and claiming your prize. We're looking for businesses to join up for our next one. All we need from you is an experience, service, or item like a gift card. In return, we'll serve you up a top-tier ad campaign. No cash needed. This is a trade deal. Check out harvardmedia.com for info. Terms and conditions apply.
Been there, done that. We get it. And we've got something great for you. The Great Bin Giveaway on 620 CKRM. We're giving you the chance to win a 100-ton fertilizer bin from Core Grain. All you have to do is be listening to find out which sponsor locations you can enter at, all across southern Saskatchewan. You'll also have some chances to qualify during Saskag Today with Ryan Young. The grand prize draw will take place at Ag in Motion this July. Don't miss out on your chance to have a shot at the Great Bin Giveaway.
Brought to you by Ag Direct Hail Insurance, Zipperlock Building Company, McDougall Auctioneers, and 620 CKRM.
Don't miss a minute of Sportscage. Podcasts are posted at sportscage.com. 620 CKRM.
Welcome back to the show. It is Monday, which means Double Talk with Darian Durant. And today, fan questions. If there's something that you would like to ask Darian that's always been on your mind and you've never been able to get an answer or a straight answer, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. We'll go through the questions, and when we get them on just after 5, we'll get to see if we can get you what you're looking for. It's Maz here. 9 games in the NHL yesterday, but probably one of the most interesting things in the NHL, besides the Flames winning and keeping the playoff hopes alive, did you see this? Calvin DeHaan and his quote that ended up on social media. Now, a lot of hockey players keep it tight to the vest. Cliche answers, stock answers again and again and again. Nothing real. Nothing that you can, and if you're a writer like an Eric Francis, you just, whatever they give you, you got to write about. That's why Torts was the best. You'd get a little honesty. Well, Calvin DeHaan yesterday, I'd say he went off. And it's quite interesting. He came out, said yesterday that he's incredibly upset about the way the Rangers have treated him since the team acquired him back on March 1st. While passing by reporters before an on-ice session on Sunday, DeHaan said something to the effect of, "How about the way I've been treated here? It's effed." According to New York Post Sports, DeHaan's been a healthy scratch for the last 18 games. Now, that would be tough. You're an NHL veteran. He's only played 3 games for the Rangers after being traded by the Colorado Avalanche, where he played 44 games before the deal. Rangers PR had a conversation with DeHaan after he came off the ice, and he decided to wait until the end of the season to speak with media, according to Walker. But then, and here's the thing, and I'm sure his agent today has had to tell him, stay off social media, because he went on Twitter and said, "I said what I said because I'm frustrated. And any competitor who says that they would be happy in this position would be lying to you. After playing 3 games for the team and going 2-0-1, I thought I maybe would have got an opportunity to jump into the lineup and help win some games. Did I help win those games I played? Maybe, maybe not. But we still won and collected some crucial points to climb the standings. I understand the youth movement in the NHL, and I'm getting older in hockey years, and I may not play every single night. I feel like I can still keep up and help a team in certain facets of the game. I'm not trying to be the villain or gain attention or throw shade on the organization. I would have preferred a scrum setting to chat about how my time with the Rangers has gone. As a player, you have to respect the lineup decisions, whether you like them or not. It's just been frustrating not being able to compete and do what I love to do. I hope everyone understands." DeHaan will become an unrestricted free agent this summer. He's 33 years old. He's played 13 seasons and 679 games over those 13 seasons. Double C's, I'll ask you, has DeHaan, 13 years in the league, has he not earned the right to speak up, especially with the season that the Rangers have had? They've got more talent and potential than anybody, and they just haven't lived up to it. And I think he's got a point. Like Colorado, he was playing every night, and then a healthy scratch for 18 games. Colson, yeah. I don't blame him for going off.
Yeah, no, athletes getting frustrated, you certainly can't blame him for going off. And in his tweet, he does say for the 3 games that he did play, they went 2-0-1. Is that all him? Of course not. It's a team game, but he helped. So, and especially at a veteran at that point, like he says, he knows he's not going to play 20 minutes a night, but he's still a vet. He's going to give the young guys some experience in that locker room. Like, yeah, you can't help but feel like this is just a mishandling by the Rangers.
The New York Rangers and the Nashville Predators are the 2 most frustrating teams of this season because of all of the talent that they have and then the potential that they didn't live up to. And I'm not a fan of either of those teams. I don't own any of their jerseys, but man, for what they had on paper and the product that they put on the ice, and the Rangers are going to miss the playoffs by 6-ish, 7-ish points with a Panarin and a Shesterkin and a Panarin and a Shesterkin. They traded Filipino. Cheadle, as if you pronounce it that way. Not Zuccarello plays for the Wild. Who's the other dude with the long hair? Mika Zibanejad. That's who it is. So obviously frustrating. And what does DeHaan care? He's an unrestricted free agent. Maybe he hangs it up, but I don't have a problem with that. So we talked
Speaking
Flames
of hanging it up, though. The Sharks captain just announced that he's probably going to hang it up after this year.
Who's the captain this year? Who's the captain this year? No, it's not Mike Greer. He's the general manager. He stopped playing years ago.
Logan.
Is it still Joe Thornton? Oh, Logan Couture. He's a good player.
Thornton's
good guy. God, that
retired. Thornton's got his jersey in the rafters now.
Oh, I know, but that would for Logan Couture, because you were there for the Marlowe Thornton years. It's probably been a tough couple of years, and I understand why. So the Sharks lose last night in Calgary.
They're alluding it's to his injuries and stuff too. So
yeah. Last night the Sharks it was 2-2 for the Flames for a while. Flames win 5-2, so the Flames 2 points out with 2 games left. St. Louis, if they win in regulation time tomorrow, puts them further in a hole. And that's our Twitter poll question today. Do the Flames make the playoff? You can go to @Sportscage to vote there. The no's. A lot of people think no, they're not going to make it. Oh, and we teased this before the break. The Winnipeg Jets ended up winning the President's Trophy. Now, lately, that distinction's been the kiss of death once you make the playoffs. But apparently, I think there was a stat in the past 30 or 32 years, the President's Trophy winner has made the Stanley Cup final 8 times. So it's not as bad as we thought. So Jets fans, it's been a good year. Now will it spill into the playoffs? All right, we'll take a break. We'll get our NHL insider, our expert from Sportsnet on next. He's Eric Francis. We'll do that for Saudi Mainline Chrysler. The Sports Cage continues on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station. Streaming online at 620CKRM.com.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news. Saskatchewan's opposition NDP says it's concerned the province's new breast health centre won't add capacity and reduce wait times. Critic Mira Conway says 4 staff are moving from the breast assessment centre at the Pasqua Hospital in Regina to work at the new facility. She also says other existing health workers have been hired.
We're seeing ribbon cuttings, we're seeing new buildings, but we are not actually seeing this government build out new capacity in our healthcare system. The urgent care centre is a perfect example, and that's why they still are not able to open up 24/7, is because this government has no actual plan to build out capacity in our system.
Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the new centre is replacing the old one at the hospital, but didn't say where the new staff were hired from. He says the new facility plans to reduce wait times. SUMA says more money and staff are needed for the RCMP and for local police to help deal with crime and drugs. The Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association is discussing these issues this week at their annual convention in Saskatoon. SUMA President Randy Golden says organized crime and gangs are a major reason why dangerous drugs are reaching communities. She believes the RCMP needs stronger support to stop these threats. SUMA says fixing the mental health and addictions crises are also a means of keeping harmful drugs out of people's hands. They want the federal government to invest in new resources for policing and crime prevention so Saskatchewan's towns and cities can feel safer and more secure. A new study says the massive West Side Irrigation Rehabilitation Project could bring in billions of dollars to Saskatchewan's economy. If completed, the project would add 100,000 acres of new irrigated farmland. A report commissioned by the province by KPMG claims it could increase Saskatchewan's GDP by $5.9 billion. The project may also create over 30,000 jobs and about 9,500 jobs during construction. The Water Security Agency is now working on a full environmental review to make sure the plan is safe for land and water. Supporters say the project will help farmers and grow the economy. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is promising to do something no federal government has ever done, use the Charter's notwithstanding clause to pass his crime agenda. Poilievre says if elected, he would reverse a Supreme Court decision that found it unconstitutional to sentence people to consecutive life sentences.
We will do this using Parliament's legitimate constitutional authority under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms that allows Parliament to act to protect the charter rights of Canadians.
Poilievre says that convicted mass murderers should, quote, never get parole. And Alberta crude should resume flowing south through the Keystone Pipeline today. The company that operates the pipeline hasn't said why a section in North Dakota ruptured last week. South Bow says it's watching inclement weather conditions before beginning a carefully controlled restart with reduced operating pressures. The company also said it will put certain pressure restrictions on the pipeline's Canadian sections. That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620CKRM.com. Your weather is next.
Mountie up. Steel Panther and Buck Cherry present the Northern Exposure Tour. She's got the eyes on April 29th, 7:30 p.m. Connexus Arts Center. Y'all crazy bitch, but Steel Panther and Buck Cherry. On sale now at connexusartscenter.ca. Don't miss Steel Panther and Buck Cherry together live. See you at the center.
This is Blanche Devereaux.
I'm Rose Niley.
And I'm Dorothy here with Ma.
Picture it. The Golden Girls are back in an all-new show.
Sophia's been busted for selling drugs at Shady Pines. Blanche and Rose created a sex app for seniors. And Dorothy is back on the dating scene. Golden Girls, the laughs continue.
Thursday, August 7th at Connexus Arts Center, Regina. Showtime at 7:30 p.m. See you at the center.
Get tickets now at goldengirlstour.com.
620 CKRM weather is for Linex Regina, Serious Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McCara Street. Clear tonight with a low of -1. Tomorrow, sunny and a high of 16. And for Wednesday, sunshine and a high of 11. Right now, Moose Jaw, 10 degrees. Regina, sunny, windy, and 11.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCara Street.
The Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan and your local tire retailers are committed to environmental responsibility by recycling your used tires. The spring tire changeover season is a busy time. You often need replacement tires, and Saskatchewan retailers can help you recycle your used tires. With drop-off locations around the province, find your closest return to retailer at tssk.ca to see how you, your retailer, and the Tire Stewardship of Saskatchewan can recycle your used tires.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Hour 2 of the show, Monday edition. Maz in for Barney this week. He's away. A lot going on in the world. Federal election 2 weeks from today. They're doing the debates on Wednesday. In French Wednesday, English Thursday. I'm a little worried for a lot of reasons, not only about politics, but this weekend is WrestleMania in Vegas. The card's not great. Tickets aren't selling well. It could be a dud. The Sheriff, Alan, is not in today, Alan Lee. Usually when he's on, we go to him to talk wrestling. He's not here, but a little worried. Not a great card. You can't stretch that over 2 nights and just gouge people for money. We talked about Rory's big win yesterday, the ups and downs, and the Rory roller coaster. Get that. Dive further into that with Eric in just a sec. And Ben Tompkins, the play-by-play guy of the Melfort Mustangs, joined us. Tonight, it's Game 6, Flin Flon Bombers, Weyburn Red Wings in Weyburn. With a win tonight, the Red Wings could wrap up the series and move on to play Melfort. If not, it's back on the Iron Lung and a grueling 12, 13, 17-hour trip back up to Flin Flon for Game 7 on Wednesday. That'd be tough. The reverse sweep. Wow. If you want to be part of the show, oh, that's right. Darian's coming up in an hour. Double talk with Darian Durant. If you have questions for Darian, we're taking fan questions today on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. All right, let's go inside the NHL with Eric Francis.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Southie Mainline Chrysler, the newest king of trucks. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
Hey, pal, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Not bad. We'll get to NHL. Did we? Oh, there he is. We'll get to NHL. Let's start with golf. I had said last hour, I had never felt more connected to a golfer than Rory McIlroy on the first hole, a double bogey. I don't think I've ever started a round of golf without taking a double bogey. So I'm like, Rory and I are the exact same. I love this guy even more now. He's starting horribly. It was a roller coaster of emotions through 18 holes. Your thoughts? I don't know if were you for Rory or for the field in the roller coaster of emotions?
Well, I don't know how you could be against Rory. Like, I don't know what it is. You know, I love him because he fought for the PGA Tour. And ironically, he fought for it against guys like DeChambeau who tried to abandon it and almost ruin it. So I don't know. I don't know. You know, I think he's a likable sort. I think he's a gentle sort. I think people felt bad. He's been chasing this, this Grand Slam for, 11 years? Like, I think there's a lot of reasons why people are just like, you know what? Come on, golf gods. Let this guy finally win this thing. And that walk, like you're showing on the stream here, the celebration, him hitting the turf, like that's not staged. That's beautiful. Him sobbing, hugging his caddy, who's his best man at his wedding, and vice versa, his childhood buddy, his wife, his daughter, like that walk from the green to the cabin to sign his card. What a magical walk that was, wasn't it? I mean, you could just see he couldn't believe it was happening. He was in shock. He was ecstatic. He was emotional. Like, it was beautiful. He was human. And I remember watching golf with my dad as a kid, and his number one complaint was, like, he'd say, I don't like that guy. He never shows any, like, he hated Davis Love III because the guy never cracked a smile in his entire life. And he hated anyone who didn't have personality. But he loved Lee Trevino because he had all this personality. He loved Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. So anyway, I'm in a roundabout way, I'm just saying, like, I love the personalities in golf. This guy has always been one. He's fought for the PGA Tour. He declined all that money to stay on the PGA Tour. Beautiful moment. And yes, we all connect a little bit with that chip in the creek on, what was it, 13 or 11 or whatever. Like, that's
15, yeah.
That's a duffer's delight. We've all done that. When she said, the commentator said, that was 25 yards offline. And it was like a 70-yard chip. Like, that shouldn't happen at that level. And it frustrated people. A lot of people probably alternated between, well, screw him. If he's going to do that, then I hope he chokes and he doesn't win. But deep down, I think most people wanted him to win. It was beautiful.
My only flinch point was after he missed the initial putt on 18 in the regular round before the playoff hole. I'm like, okay, like, I've been with you, but then now you blow that. If you lose in the playoff, you did this to yourself, okay?
Yeah.
You did that to yourself, but give Justin Rose credit. He just ran out of holes because he got hot again. And they said he led day one, led day two. It kind of went a little sideways on Saturday for him, but it's crazy how one shot earlier on a Thursday or Friday can affect you on a Sunday, where it's kind of like, and he even had in the final round, what was it, on 12 or 13? He missed a chance for a birdie that would have had him at minus. It's crazy. I only watch one full round of golf every year, and it's the final Sunday of the Masters. I don't care who it is, but yesterday didn't disappoint. That was great viewing. And can we just say, Jim Nantz is just the best. Like, there's nothing better. Because when all of that was going on, Nantz turned off his microphone and didn't say a word when all the emotion was coming out with Rory.
He is the best. And when Rory was coming down the 18th, and it looked like, all he needed was a par, albeit on a really tough hole. But anyway, he started it was the Jim Nantz show. That's his house where he lives. As Rory's coming down, he's done his research and he starts talking about his mom and dad working extra hours at the pub so that their son could take that God-given talent and take it all over the world to challenge the world's best and see how good he could be. And it's just dripping with emotion. And I'm thinking to myself, when he hits it into the sand, I'm thinking, Jim's going to have to go through that whole thing again, during a playoff potentially here, or when Justin Rose wins. Anyway, amazing. I'm with you. I don't watch golf every week. I do not care about the Farmers Classic or the AT&T this or that. Like, they mean nothing to me. But the majors I watch intensely, and that, as in particular, the Masters is the. I've said it the other day when we spoke. It's the greatest sporting event in the world. Nothing comes close in terms of the patrons' experience. But I think you could probably say the same thing about people who watch it on TV. And hey, there are some people who don't like golf and maybe they don't watch it. But I think there are a lot of people who don't even watch golf who just appreciate the tradition and the honor and the mystique of that hallowed ground, and the history of that. I think it's so cool that even CBS has covered that thing for 70 years in a row. Like, that doesn't happen, that loyalty. And even a little thing, like, sorry, I'm going a little bit inside baseball here, but is it on 15, the par 3? I think it's 15. I don't know the course as well as everybody else does, even though I've been there. But, usually that pin is in a place on the Sunday where, all the balls feed towards the hole. So guys tear the hole or get hole-in-ones. This year they put it up on top of the ridge. But, and actually I was at a gathering with a bunch of guys watching, and they're like, guys were angry. It should always be where it always is. But they did such a good job explaining that was in the same place in 1972 or whatever. Jack won one of his first green jackets. And they had Jack out there explaining what happened on that hole because it was a turning point in that. They married the past with the future. And that's where you get that incredible tradition, and good on them. They do such a great job.
We'll wrap on the golf front with... I remember the Holdfast Saskatchewan golf course. It doesn't look anything like the Augusta National. And we'll just go from there. Like, there's a lot of people that's stepping up the game on the course. All right, so you would have had to take off your quarter zip if you were hanging with the guys watching golf. I saw you with your shirt, tie, and suit jacket on last night. Flames game. The Flames just won't die. They won't go away. You can't. They're the cockroach. No matter what happens, Flames win last night, 5-2 over San Jose. 2 games left, 2 points down. Oh, maybe you've had when the Flames are finally eliminated column sitting in your computer for a month now, ready to hit publish. But you can't. They're not done. There's still a little fight left in this dog.
It's a great story, and I still think there's, even if they don't, the odds are still stacked against them, but there's a way if they get just a little bit of help. And that's where they've really just struggled. They haven't had much help. I mean, look, they're chasing down a St. Louis team that just won 12 in a row. To me, that's just bad luck that you came up across a team that put together a run for the ages. I really hope, I've covered the team forever, and it doesn't matter to me win or lose. I just want a good story. And but for this team to come this far and give it this much that nobody thought they had in that tank, it'd be an awful shame to have to, like you say, dust off that obituary that I've half written 15 times. And I've written it midway through games too, right? They've traditionally, even through this last month when they've pieced together one of the better records in hockey, a lot of those games, midway through the first or the second, they're getting pummeled or they're on the ropes. But every single game, they slowly build back into it. And then in the third period, they always seem to come up with some miracles. So it's a dangerous game they play. And it's got to this point where it's still a dangerous, slippery slope, but fun to watch. I don't know how you can watch this team, even if you're a casual fan, and not love these guys. Because really, of all our pro athletes, what do we ask for the most? Just give us our money's worth. And this team is really giving people their money's worth.
We're inside the NHL with Eric Francis. It's brought to you by Southie Mainline Chrysler. If you're tired of feeling cramped in your vehicle, for as low as $153 weekly, the 2024 Chrysler Grand Caravan could be your perfect solution. They've also got 2024 Ram 3500s where you can save up to $11,000. You can visit SouthieMainline.ca. Southie Mainline Chrysler is worth the drive every time, guaranteed. I don't know where the NHL awards are going to be handed out this year. Let's say they are in Vegas. I would love to come up with hey, you basically skipped out on the first 70 games of the year, but Andrei Kuzmenko for the final 10 games of the year, come on down. You are lighting things up in the NHL. Kuzmenko scores again last night, and I know he's had some struggles. But when you put up a goose egg for the first 70, pretty much, and then you're on fire in the last 10, I don't know. Would you say that's a tad inconsistent, Eric?
Oh, my God. What a story. I mean, I watched this guy. He's a bum all year. I mean, there's no better way to put it. Like, he's terrible. He couldn't figure out how to play the Flames system. He couldn't figure out that he needed to play defense. He couldn't figure out that all they wanted to do was shoot the puck. 2 weeks ago, I just picked him up in my hockey pool. I couldn't believe I was doing it because he's been so bad. But ever since they got him in LA, it's all about putting a guy in a position to succeed. And the Flames, I think, did a good job trying to put him in a position to succeed, but it was on him and he couldn't do it. He wasn't able to do it in Philadelphia. They saw that act for about 3 weeks and said, that's not going to work here. And then somehow in LA, they put him with Kempe and Kopitar, and it's magic. Like, I think he's got 6 goals, 6 assists his last 10 games, 8 games. It's insane. And it really is sometimes about self-preservation. Like, there was zero doubt in my mind his career was over in the NHL. Like, if he couldn't have made it happen in LA, that's 3 teams, 0 for 3, 0 for 4 if you count his last year in Vancouver when they gave up on him. I was sure we were never going to see him in North America ever again. Lord knows he's now probably going to sign a 3-year extension for like $18 million. Like, it's insane what he managed to do. And hey, good on him. I liked him a lot. I think he had a good heart. He tried to speak with us. Man, is he a character? Like, he is funny. But it wasn't funny the way he played here and in Philadelphia. Boy, that's an incredible turnaround. And even in the last 3 games, Kempe's been injured the last 3 games. So it's Kopitar and whoever they want to throw on that line. I think LaFerriere or somebody. And he still managed to do it. It's pretty impressive.
Okay, so the way it sits right now, the Flames have 92 points. St. Louis has 94. Minnesota 95. But Minnesota is not catchable. So does this come down to it's regulation wins, correct? So if St. Louis wins tomorrow night in regulation, I believe they're in Utah. Like, what happens then, or what's the scenario then?
If either one of those 2 teams wins in regulation tomorrow, the Flames season is over. And it's interesting because either one, because that'll be a regulation win for St. Louis. Now, if St. Louis wins in a shootout or an overtime, the Flames can still catch them. And if the Flames run the table, then they beat St. Louis because they have more regulation wins. Like, there's still 1,500, permutations to what could happen here. But the simplest way to put it is if both of those teams win, or either of those 2 teams win tomorrow night, and they play an hour before the Flames game starts. So by the time the 3rd period rolls around for the Flames, they'll know if they're playing for anything or not. The Flames have done a good job taking care of what they can take care of. They're 4-0-2 in their last 6. And, I think you put it really well when you talked about golf. Like, these poor guys, you lose by 1 stroke at the Masters, and you're thinking about a 3-footer you missed on day 1. It all counts. The Calgary Flames last week, in 8 seconds, gave up 2 goals to the Anaheim Ducks and lost in overtime. And I remember my headline, or my lead in my column was "Gone in 8 seconds." That's the epitaph of the Calgary Flames season. That could be the epitaph. And that's probably still the likely scenario. That 1 point will cost them dearly. However, here we are. We watched Minnesota. We watched St. Louis. If they win in regulation, they take care of it, and they both move on to the playoffs.
Flames will play Vegas tomorrow. Now, Akira Schmid is supposed to get the start in net. And it's not like you can dress the whole Henderson Silver Knights. You're going to have some players in the lineup. Would it be the full game 1 of the playoff starting lineup for Vegas? No. But Vegas, it's not a slouch team. It's not a gimme. And then they play the LA Kings. And I don't know that teams are going out there to lose. So I don't think anybody's going to be doing the Flames any favors here, just with the way that the schedule is drawn up. Let's see. St. Louis plays Utah, and Minnesota, they play Anaheim, correct?
Yeah.
So I would say that the Flames obviously have the tougher schedule. So, all right.
The odds. There's still there's these websites. You see these websites, Tankathon, and they where they put the odds of teams making the playoffs. And that's actually a website. The Flames are still at 10%, right?
Okay.
But if those two teams lose tomorrow, just say Minnesota and St. Louis, I bet those odds, and assume the Flames win or at least get a point, I would assume those odds will go up to like 50 or 60 or 70%. I don't know what the number will be. I'm not a mathematician. I got into journalism because you didn't need math. But let's just say things could turn on a dime tomorrow, one way or the other.
Yesterday, the Oilers beat the Jets, but it didn't matter. The Jets end up winning the President's Trophy. And then I read a crazy stat, because lately it's been the kiss of death. Winning the President's Trophy usually means that you're not winning the Stanley Cup. But I guess 8 teams in the past 30 years have ended up making the Stanley Cup final, winning the President's Trophy. So this may not be the curse for Jets fans. They've had an incredible year. Oh, yeah, they lost to the Oilers yesterday, but solid top to bottom. Can they continue into the playoffs? Which Connor Hellebuck, that's the one place he has yet to prove. I like this Jets story. They're easy to like because they just play the right way. They don't take shortcuts, and they're not. There's very few games where you ever see them going, "Ooh, I don't know about that." Look at that presence.
Yeah, I agree, and it starts with the goalie. And you know what? I'm just going through my NHL ballot right now for all the award winners, and full disclosure, I can't put anybody's name down for the Hart on the very top of the list other than Connor Hellebuck, and I'm not sure I've ever put a goalie in my ballot in 30 years. Like I don't believe, generally speaking, that a goalie should be in there. I kind of say, well, goalies have their own trophy, like leave it there. But he's been so much better than any other goalie and been such a difference maker for that organization this year that he's my and I also think nobody's really run away with it in terms of as a forward. Like McDavid's not having one of his McDavidian seasons. McKinnon's having a good season but not a great season. Kucherov's doing what he always does, but it's nothing spectacular. So Hellebuck and the Jets are I think they're going to be one of the most fascinating teams going into the playoffs because I think we're all wondering, but are they really cut out for playoff hockey, right? Like, I'll tell you one thing and I'll throw this out now, we can mock me later, but the one team that I think is not going to be ready for the playoffs and will be an early casualty, the Washington Capitals. They have been abysmal of late, and yes, they're starting to rest. They're starting to rest players and such, but their goaltending has been absolutely lit up of late. And again, they're not really playing for much. I'm not sure the President's Trophy meant anything to them. Clearly it didn't because they didn't stay in that hunt with the Jets. But I don't – we've seen many teams that they seem to tank the last 5-7 games of the season and then turn it back on a switch. But I'm just not sure. The excitement of the Ovechkin chase is over. The goaltending's terrible. They're an unproven commodity. I think the Jets have a much better chance of going way further in the playoffs than Washington. But I've been wrong before.
I only saw the final score. I didn't see any of the game. Leafs beat the Hurricanes yesterday 4-1. They both dressed full lineups. Was it a solid beatdown? Like, was it a true, Leaf Carolina, this could be a playoff matchup? Or was there anything wonky lineup-wise? Because to me, Carolina has always been a goalie away from being a good team. If anything's going to cost them in the playoffs, it's not the forward or the defense core. They don't have a number one goalie. They don't.
Yeah,
they can try every year, but goaltending always lets them down.
Yeah, and it's usually Frederik Andersen, and he's amazing because he puts up such incredible numbers during the regular season, but in the playoffs, he hasn't been able to help get them over the hump. So I didn't watch that game. I'd be lying if I said I did, but I the Leafs beating Carolina going into the playoffs, I think that's a good sign. Carolina's sneaky good. I've always thought they're sneaky good. They've got a coach who I think the world of, and I think he's great at motivating the boys and making them play the way he wants them to play, which is balls to the wall always. And they've got some sneaky scoring ability. trading Rantanen, and that whole debacle really hurt them. I think it took them out of the contender talk. I don't take them very seriously as a contender this year. With Rantanen, had that worked, maybe, or if they still have Natchez, maybe. But there was too much disruption there, and I don't know if they have the firepower to overcome their lack of goaltending. But a steady team that could shock people. I just don't see it. Toronto to me is like Winnipeg. It's like, until you can prove any differently, I don't believe that you can do this in the playoffs, right? I mean, we've seen that for 10 years for the Leafs, 50 years, 60 years, whatever it is. But, I like the way they played this year. They're always one of the best teams in the NHL last 10 years in the regular season. Let's see if they can flip that switch and be even better in the postseason.
I think yesterday just proved that Julien Brisebois is an assassin as a general manager. Don't question him. Jake Gensel scored his 39th goal. And if they swapped out Stamkos for Gensel, boy, did Brisebois pick the right time to push his chips in, going, nope, I'm all in on this. So far, pretty good move on the Gensel front. And all of that, and to see the Nashville and the season they had, so they look good. And then probably the best story of the weekend in hockey happened in the American Hockey League, the Colorado Eagles. And why am I spacing? Gabriel Landeskog scoring that goal. And if he gets added to the Avalanche lineup, not only just talent-wise, but morale-wise, what a boost to that team. Hasn't played, June 2022 was his last regular season game?
The last time he skated in a game, he won the Stanley Cup and hoisted it above his head. He hasn't played since then. And that was 3 years ago. It's just an amazing story of perseverance. There's actually a documentary out just on his 3-year, hellish attempt to try and resurrect or keep his career going. He's got a cadaver. He's got parts of a cadaver in his knee to try and help stabilize it. He's been skating forever. Some days he feels great. Other days he can't. And I'm terrified. I'm honestly terrified to watch him because I just feel like at any moment, we're talking about the toughest league in the world, heavy hitting playoff hockey. It just takes one hit and that knee to just go. I'm you know what I mean? I'm so scared for him. And I'm sure he's terrified too, in a way. But what incredible courage to keep this fight going. He is their captain, right? People forget. They've been without their captain for all these years. So to your point, getting your captain back, a guy who's absolutely beloved in that room, would be a huge boon for that team. And look, I don't think you're going to see him go on that top line like he always did with McKinnon and Rantanen back in the day. I think you're going to see him play a much more subservient role on the third line, maybe even a fourth line mucker. I don't know. But just him going out there and being part of it, I agree. What a great story. I can't wait to see it. And I'm still not believing that we're going to see it, but seeing him score that goal in the minors the other day made me think, damn it, he's going to do this. And I'm so happy for him.
Well, I bet you if you asked any athlete, hey, would you much rather go down swinging in a game or be sidelined and never get back in and it's a press box and determined? Some injury news for the Oilers because they are a bit of a walking mash unit. Zach Hyman and Matthias Ekholm could be out long-term tonight. The Kings and Oilers will play. It's been decided the Kings have played some really good hockey lately. It looks like they're going to have home ice advantage. McDavid, since he's come back, he's been an assist machine, not necessarily a goal machine. And I get it. You don't want to. There's still a few games left in the regular season, the playoffs. Do you set the tone tonight? Are you sending messages now? If you're Corey Perry, are you face washing as many guys as you possibly can just to say, listen, come Saturday, I will see you and you cannot run from me. I love Corey Perry.
Yeah. I don't know. If I'm Edmonton, I just let sleeping dogs. I don't poke the bear, but Corey Perry doesn't know what that means when I say something like that. That's just the only way he plays. I'm sure these guys will get in the heat of the battle, even as though this game doesn't mean anything. I'm sure once they start getting in there, they'll start thinking they can start sending messages. I think it's ridiculous. I think that's one of the oldest cliches in hockey. At the end of a big loss, you could send a message by cross-checking a guy in the back of the head, like, stuff like that, or fighting someone. What are you basically saying? Hey, next time we're going to be better? Okay, well, why would you let them know that? Why would you show a sign of life like that? Why don't you just do it the next time you play? So, hey, I'll be watching it because I love that. Everybody knows it's a preview. But boy, the air sure seems to have come out of the balloon in Edmonton, hasn't it? Even talking to Oilers fans, they all feel like it's dead man walking, right? Going into this playoffs, like we didn't have a lot of depth in the first place, and now our depth is decimated, and our two big stars are not 100%, and we don't even know if Skinner's going to, be able to get up to top form, which we don't even know if that's good enough anyway. Yeah, it's not a fun time to be an Oiler fan right now. They're kind of scared, and I kind of like it.
I did see a press release from the Oilers that apparently they have a new security system for fans coming into the building that because of AI and technology, you now don't have to empty your pockets like a potential criminal. It'll just see all of the junk you're trying to bring in. So I was like, all right. So they're saying it's going to speed up entrance into Rogers Arena there, and their playoff tickets are on sale. They're going to be doing the outdoor parties and all of that. All right, enough hockey. So last week was the season finale, the season finale of White Lotus. Now I know you said you and your wife would watch that together, and I'm not sure if you watched did you end up watching the season finale yet?
I think we're in episode 4 of this last season here.
Okay,
the recent season. So don't spoil it, but I know how down you've been on it. And it's funny because I've been at parties and stuff talking to people about it. And I said, yeah, a buddy of mine's really down on it, says it's the worst season ever. And that's not what I'm hearing from other people. So I'm very intrigued to see how it ends. So don't taint it for anybody listening or for me.
I will say that the finale, that final episode, it's 90 minutes. It redeem itself. It turns back into the White Lotus that made White Lotus popular. And I will say, this won't give anything away. The guy who's the security guard, sometimes life ends up working out. That's all I'm going to say. It's one of my proudest. And that won't give away anything. But did you know that Mike White guy, the creator of White Lotus, he was a contestant on Survivor about 10 years ago, and many of the people from his original tribe he has put in the first 2 and now this 3rd season of White Lotus in like cameo roles somehow as background actors and stuff. So anybody in his tribe has now been stars in his show as well. Like, that's nuts.
That's hilarious. And that's a good for everyone who's going on Survivor. Be really, really nice to everyone, because you could end up being a movie star later.
Yeah, it's funny. I tried watching an episode. I think they're in season 46 of that, and they're still going strong. And I'm like, I can see why that the show is still around, but I can see why I'm like, I was like, I've kind of seen this. I don't like when they don't win. The hard part, I don't like when there's food up for grabs and then they don't get the food and then people go hungry. I don't like that. But to me, I'm like, that's never been good. It's fried chicken or donuts or something. It's like, that's not. All right. He's our NHL insider, Eric Francis for Southie Mainline Chrysler. By time we chat again on Wednesday, there's going to be a lot of moving parts that may be in still spots as the playoffs, which will start on the weekend. That playoff picture is going to become a whole lot clearer. Enjoy the Oilers-Kings games tonight. And if you want, make friends on social media with some Oilers fans. You can correct their spelling if they get out of line.
No, thank you. All right. See you, buddy.
All right. It's Eric Francis inside the NHL for Southie Mainline Chrysler. We're going to take a break. When we come back, clutch performer. There has been some incredible Western Hockey League action round 2. But last night, I don't necessarily know that there was a more incredible goal scored lately than a certain gentleman who's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick in next year's NHL draft. We'll do that next. This is the Sportscage, streaming on our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Proven by countless farmers, 900 Series Fendt sprayers set the standard for your crops, and it's available at Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Featuring 370 horsepower, 132-foot boom, 1,580-gallon tank, smart drive 4-wheel steering, and liquid logic recirculating boom, the 900 Series Fendt sprayers are backed by a 3-year, 2,000-hour Gold Star warranty. Leaders drive Fendt. To learn more about making your crops successful, visit Nick's Service today. nickservice.com.
Another one bites the dust? What a weird saying. Are they swallowing the dust? And why is it so dusty in the first place? So many questions, but what I don't question is where I get my tires. When your vehicle needs the right tires, see your local Cooper tire dealer. Your local Cooper tire dealer carries Cooper Cobra Instinct tires. They bring your car to a shorter stop on wet roads and have decisive maneuvering and sporty performance. Dust yourself off and ask your local Cooper tire dealer about Cooper Cobra Instinct tires today.
I'm Fraser Tolmie, and I'm running for re-election as your Conservative Party candidate for Moose Jaw Lake Centre Lanigan. Our Conservative team is fighting for you and your family. For 10 years, the Liberal government has ignored the struggles of everyday Canadians. Rising gas prices, higher food costs mean less money in your pocket. We will axe the Liberal carbon tax for good and fix the budget so you can bring home powerful paychecks. We're fighting for you. We're fighting for Saskatchewan. We're fighting for Canada. Let's bring it home.
Authorized by the official agent for Fraser Tolmie.
Hip hop hooray! Easter is on its way. Come meet the Easter Bunny at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's and get a free 4x6 printed photo. Book your spot in the express line at cabela's.ca/Easter.
The Sask Elks Trucks and Bucks Lottery is back with up to $100,000 in great prizes. Proceeds help support the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at trucksandbucks.ca. Lottery license number LR240147.
The Sportscage Clutch Performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. Call 781-1077.
Well, we could say clutch performer could be Rory McIlroy coming back and winning the Masters and then the Grand Slam of golf, only the sixth person to do it, first time in 25 years. Tiger did it back in 2000, but that was all well and good until last night. Medicine Hat Tigers were taking on the Prince Albert Raiders, and then this Gavin McKenna, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, scored this goal and basically went viral and took over the internet. Look at that. Wow. And he's not draft eligible till next year. Can you imagine what he's going to do to the Western Hockey League next year? Gavin McKenna, your clutch performer for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. The Tigers went on to win that game, and they are now up 2-0 on the Raiders. Game 3 is Wednesday night in Prince Albert. We'll get to the rest of the Western Hockey League story in just a second. Colson, Curtis, the Double C's, you guys got clutch performers today? What do we got?
Yeah, I got one. Kid by the name of Zeev Buyum. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but we'll go with it. Plays for Denver in the NCAA hockey team. They just lost in a double overtime national semifinal a couple days ago. He was on the ice for 51 minutes and 41 seconds of that double overtime game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that deserves a clutch performer for that Iron Man performance. The next closest, and he's a defenseman, the next closest defenseman in that game, 36 minutes, 17 seconds.
And the other thing, too, is he just signed a contract with the Minnesota Wild. So you're probably going to see him in this last game here and then probably into the playoffs because the Wild could use some help on defense. They've been bitten by injuries, and the kid's a stud. He was a first-round draft pick for a reason. And so Billy Guerin didn't miss on this one, and I think Billy G will be – and he's a Billy G kind of guy. Yeah. Curtis, your clutch performer. It's not the guy that took the coffee machine out of the radio station over the weekend. We learned that earlier today as we found out the fancy coffee machine we had for, it was what, a solid year and a half? She gone.
At least a couple
Gonzilla.
months. She gone.
Gone. Yeah, gone baby gone. Now we're back to drip coffee in a pot.
Absolutely terrible. Terrible. Opposite of the clutch performer. Either way, I'll just say it's the Winnipeg Jets for clutching the President's Trophy for the first time in their franchise. Go Winnipeg Jets. You know, I'm not a big Winnipeg team guy, but I'll let it slide because it's hockey and not football.
Here's the thing. Okay, but I heard somebody on the show on Friday, I think, do that twice. The Bombers are a very unlikable team. The Jets are very likable. They just carry themselves differently. They don't have on their social media hashtag for the Stanley Cup, like the Bombers with for the W. Like, you guys haven't gotten a W in a game where it matters in many, many years. You should probably not put that on all of your social media posts because you're going to get trolled if you lose again. And what happened? They lost again. The Jets are very likable. The Bombers, not likable. Not.
True that.
It just is.
You're not going to hear any disagreement on this side of the board.
Speaking of football, it's funny. Darian and his quick cup of coffee. He picked up a good check from the Bombers. He's coming up after 5 with Double Talk. If you have any questions for Doubles, text them to us. 306-936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line. You can ask Darian what you'd like to know today on Double Talk. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into the Western Hockey League story. And tonight, the most important game in Saskatchewan is happening in Weyburn, Crescent Energy Arena. Weyburn Red Wings will take on the Flin Flon Bombers, Game 6 of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League playoffs. Weyburn, who was up 3-0, has had Flin Flon on the ropes. But the Bombers have woken up. The first 3 games, the Wings' defense and game plan and structure, outstanding. The Bombers couldn't score. Well, the floodgates have opened in the past couple games. And tonight, if Weyburn can shut it down, they'll move on to the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League final to take on the Melfort Mustangs. If not, they're going back to Flin Flon, and that's a 13-hour bus ride. Rob Hart, the play-by-play guy of the Bombers, will join us in about an hour's time. We're looking forward to that. All right, time to take a quick break. When we come back, the full Western Hockey League story. We're on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at reginaredsox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
You know what they say about trust. Trust goes both ways. And hey, that doesn't just go for people. It goes for you and your vehicle too. If your vehicle seems to be telling you something's wrong, you have to trust that instinct. Visit your local Integra Tire dealer for all your car's mechanical service needs. You want tires you can trust from a dealer you can trust. Trust your locally owned Integra Tire dealers. Karst Holdings Assiniboia and Schlamps Tire Grenfell. Truly local.
Some say the number 13 is bad luck, like walking under a ladder. Well, 13 is a very lucky number when you're talking Western Pizza, like their delicious 13-inch pepperoni from Western Pizza. That makes it, well, the luckiest number of all. Western Pizza, big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Low-hour farm equipment. That's what you'll find at the Costinick Farm Auction happening online April 11th to 16th near Danbury, Saskatchewan. Don't miss your chance to bid on a 2003 John Deere 9120 with less than 2,000 hours. John Deere 4895 Swather, less than 900 hours. John Deere 7330 Premium. John Deere 9660 Combine. The list goes on. Check it out online, yacauctions.com, or call us for more information, 306-782-5999.
The Sask Elks Trucks and Bucks Lottery is back with up to $100,000 in great prizes. Proceeds help support the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at trucksandbucks.ca. Lottery license number LR240147.
Welcome back to Sportscage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
Hey, with the NHL playoffs starting this weekend, don't forget that the Keniston Super Draft is back for the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's over $80,000 in prize money to be won. It's easy. You just select 32 players. Every entry is $40, or start doing multiple entries and it gets cheaper. 3 for $100 or 7 for $200. There's also the Super 8 add-on with a chance to win $10,000. You just need to go to superdraft.com. Now, Barney's off this week, but in one of his notes or texts, he's like, you guys need to put a team in. Like, we're around each other every day, but I don't know, Colson, Curtis, Double C's, do we function as a team? Like, are we cohesive enough that we could agree on 32 different hockey players to put in this hockey draft?
Well, we already did in the group chat, but you must have not heard.
See, here's the thing. I did that on purpose.
Okay.
With the group chat, because sometimes there's members of this show when we do the pre-show meetings that look very stressed out for all of the behind-the-scenes stuff that is going on or has to happen. So knowing less is a good thing at times.
Yeah.
And I'd mentioned earlier in the show the St. Louis Blues, who could be the team of destiny this year if they get into the playoffs, and you think, well, they did it in 2019. Until we know they're in or they're out, like a Robert Thomas and a Jordan Kyrou, if the Blues are in, are probably going to be highly sought-after players in a Keniston Super Draft. Because if they do go deep, they've been scoring all regular season. You know, Igor Sharangovich for the LA Kings. The Kings are in the playoffs. He's been on fire. He's got 12 points in 8 games. Like, maybe he keeps it up for the playoffs. Maybe he goes ice cold. We don't know. There's some solid. Like, is Ovi going to keep up? Now, Eric said the Caps could be out in the first round. Are you loading up on Washington Capitals? Because if you do, and they're out in 5, well, that messes things up.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like you want to pick some of the bigger name players that you know that are going to put up numbers, but you're like, some of the guys that just consistently get the job done and you know that are on a team that's going to go a few more rounds, it's like that might get you a few more points, hey?
Well, here's a tough one that you have to consider. There's a lot of firepower on the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, but one of those teams is out after the first round. So you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And potentially a Nathan McKinnon is gone. A Cale Makar is gone. Or a Jason Robertson for the Dallas Stars, is gone.
I would say,
so like what?
You know what? If I was a betting man, which I don't know, sometimes I am, I would say I would probably all in on the Avalanche and don't pick anyone from the Stars, if that's allowed.
If Jake Ottinger keeps playing hot and cold like he has this season, I would go with the Avalanche. But if he's Jake Ottinger of a couple of years ago, remember when they played the Flames and he was outstanding? It's Dallas all day. Yeah, it's not easy. Go to superdraft.com. You can see the lineup, the teams, the players, and the prizes. $80K in prize money.
Woo!
We could go to Vegas and meet up with Barney.
Woo!
We could all stay in the same hotel room. All right, Western Hockey League report for Extreme Hockey. You guys don't like that? That's not a perk?
Like, do we get our own cot, or do we got to cuddle up with Barney?
Probably sleeping on the floor in between the beds. Hurricanes lead the Calgary Hitmen 2-0. Game 3 tomorrow night in Lethbridge. Hurricanes came out of the gate hard. They win Game 1 4-0. In Game 2 2-0. PA Medicine Hat Tigers lead the series 2-0. Game 3 be Wednesday in Prince Albert. The Tigers won Game 1 6-4. And then last night they win 5-4 in overtime. Let's see. Portland and Everett. The Silvertips lead that series 2-0. Game 3 is tomorrow night in Portland. Silvertips 3-2 in overtime in Game 1. Game 2, they won 4-3 in overtime. And Victoria and Spokane Game 1 was last night. Spokane wins it 4-3 in double overtime. Rasmus Ekstrom scored the game winner. But how about this? Saskatchewan's Cole Reschny, the pride of Macklin, Saskatchewan. The only reason I know Macklin, Saskatchewan is my sister worked at a Royal Bank there, and I remember going to visit her. And there's not a lot going on in Macklin, Saskatchewan except hockey. And Cole Reschny had 2 last night for Victoria. Game 2 goes tonight in Spokane. All right, time to take a break. When we come back, it's Monday, which means double talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider, Plaza of Honor inductee and Grey Cup champion Darian Durant. If you've got questions for Darian, we'll get answers. You can text them to us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage continues next on 620 CKRM.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon, your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
The Keniston Super Draft is back with the 2025 NHL Playoff Draft. Over $80,000, over 200 cash winners, and 3 ways to win. Last year's top 4 playoff scorers were Edmonton Oilers. Is it worth loading up on the oil again, or do you take one of the other powers in the West? There are a number of ways to get in on the action. 1 entry for $40, or go in with some buddies and get 7 entries for just $200. And the Super 8 add-on is back for even more playoff fun. The Keniston Super Draft, sponsored by the Keniston Lions. Deadline is Tuesday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. Central Time. Superdraft.com.
Since 1949, Nelson Homes has been providing you one-stop shopping for ready-to-move homes, panelized packages, and on-site builds. Nelson Homes' team of authorized dealers all over Saskatchewan would be happy to help you turn your dream home into a reality. In the Strasbourg, Last Mountain Lake area, call Dean at Solid Works Carpentry or call 1-800-661-6534 for more information. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know. That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
We owls are wise birds. We give 2 hoots about carbon in the atmosphere. The cleaner the air, the easier for all of us. So it's wise of you to recycle automotive waste properly. Take used oil filters. They can be turned into reusable steel products, meaning less carbon in the air. Make automotive waste reuseful. Visit usedoilrecyclingsk.com. Mother Nature, our climate, and this wise old bird, thank you.
From the Sask Today newsroom, here's what's making news in Saskatchewan.
Another week on the campaign trail as the days tick down to Election Day, and the party leaders are debating in French and English this week.
Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground focusing on local topics that matter to you. Sign up for our daily news digest, making the news even easier to access. SaskToday.ca. Everybody has a story. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
Keep your equipment out of the rain and mud this spring by storing it in a new building from Olympic Buildings. A new building on your property can serve as a shop for equipment or hay storage, a riding arena, and so much more. Olympic Buildings in Regina can store it all. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
The 620 CKRM Country Corner is brought to you by Glasses TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer, and Foster's Audio Video in Carlisle. Get the newest cell phone today with an amazing SaskTel rate plan.
Take in the First Nations University of Canada Spring Celebration Powwow this Saturday and Sunday at the Brad Centre. Full details at fnunivpowwow.ca. The Regina District Chamber of Commerce invites you to their Take a Break Luncheon, Wednesday, April 23rd at Connexus Arts Centre. Sign up at reginachamber.com. Get your ticket for the Regina Red Sox Sports Dinner and Auction, Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Centre. Guest speakers are Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. ReginaRedSox.com. And spend your Saturdays with the Symphony. The Regina Symphony Orchestra goes to the movies May 3rd at Connexus Arts Centre. Full details at reginasymphony.com.
For more information, visit 620ckrm.com. We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station, broadcasting live from downtown Regina.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. I'm Corey Atkinson from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with your 620 CKRM news for Echo Sound and Fort Qu'Appelle. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. Police are not releasing the identification of a body pulled out of Wascana Creek yesterday morning. RPS were called out to the A.E. Wilson Park just after 9 a.m. after reports of a body in the water. The Regina Fire Department's water rescue team was brought in, and the body was retrieved and brought to shore. Police said in a statement that no details will be made public right now, including the person's name. It's not clear how long the person was in the water or how they got in there. Regina's new Breast Health Centre is planning to open next week, providing surgeries, diagnostics, and follow-up care, all under one roof that the health minister says will reduce waits. Jeremy Cockrell says the facility has the capacity to do more screening and can take in about 1,600 referrals each year.
Having things under one roof, having staff that are working together as a collaborative team is so important in terms of making sure whatever that journey may look like, whatever the order of operations is, that Saskatchewan women can get the best care possible close to home.
The opposition NDP says it's concerned the Saskatchewan Party government is only moving staff from one building to another. It says 4 staff are moving from the Breast Assessment Centre at the Pasqua Hospital in Regina to work at the new facility, and that other existing health workers were also hired. It's a potentially massive merger, one that would affect lending and borrowing in Saskatchewan. 3 of the province's credit unions are urging their members to approve a merger. More from Sask Today's John Cairns.
A big credit union merger is one step closer to becoming reality. The leadership of Connexus, Cornerstone, and Synergy credit unions are formally recommending to members that the credit unions merge into a single entity. If it happens, it'll be Saskatchewan's largest credit union, spanning east to west. But now it's up to members to decide, with voting to be held sometime in June. Each credit union will need a 75% yes vote to proceed. Connexus board chair Ken Kozlowski is urging members to have their say.
And we ask members to take part in this. They're shaping the future of this credit union. They're shaping the future of the credit union system in Saskatchewan. So we want our members to take some interest in it and to actually vote.
Should they vote in favor, the target date for the new credit union to be up and running is January 1st, 2026. For SAS Today, I'm John Cairns.
And there was an update today on the new $900 million arena for the NHL's Calgary Flames. The new building is scheduled to open in 2027 and replace the Saddle Dome. Project spokesman Bob Hunter says it's good news so far.
Construction's on schedule and on budget, and Scotia Place remains on track to open in the fall of 2027.
Hunter says steel is being accessed in Europe and sent for processing to Canada, which avoids the United States tariffs. That was your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Let's get out on the water. Now is the best time of year to buy a boat or pontoon at Kevin's Marine. Cast a line in a Lund fishing boat. Take the family out on a Four Winds boat. Or head out on a pontoon by Harris or Crest. Powered by Mercury Motors at the lowest prices of the year. There are manufacturer's rebates, dealer discounts, and low payment financing on a great selection of boats and pontoons. Plus Shoremaster aluminum docks and lifts. Kevin's Marine in Fort Qu'Appelle. Enjoy your summer. Get out on the water. Stop by or shop online at kevinsmarine.com.
Oh, finally. There it is.
Whoa, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features. And so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
Your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast is brought to you by Line-X Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Now with the forecast, here's Phil Spivak.
Only weak weather makers impacting our corner of the province here over the next several days and nights. A warm front will be pushing across the area tomorrow during the day, generating a bit of mostly mid and high-level cloud cover. The trailing cool front will roll through early Wednesday morning with high pressure returning for the end of the week. Just a few scattered clouds tonight. Temperatures fall back to near -2. Winds become south to southeasterly at 10 to 20. Chance of precipitation 20%. Partly sunny skies expected tomorrow with a high near 16. There's a 20% chance of precipitation. South to southeast winds at 15 to 25. Partly cloudy Tuesday night. Lows near 2 degrees. Southeast winds at 15 to 30 will shift north-northwesterly late. Chance of rainfall 20%. Partly sunny on Wednesday with a high near 11. North and northwest winds at 15 to 30. Partly sunny 6 on Thursday. Mostly sunny 8 on Friday. With your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast, I'm meteorologist Russ Murley.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Kellen Solar, installing solar in residential and commercial buildings for 35 years. Local and trusted. Kellen Solar. Visit kellensolar.com. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Final hour of the show on this Monday afternoon. It's Maz in for Barney. Don't forget that tonight, 7 o'clock, Weyburn Red Wings taking on the Flin Bombers. Game 6 of that best-of-7 series. With a win tonight, Weyburn can wrap things up and move on to the SJ Final to take on the Melfort Mustangs. Rob Hart, the play-by-play guy of the Flin Bombers, will join us at about 5:35. Coming up on the show tomorrow, if all works out, Medicine Hat Tiger play-by-play guy Will Bryant will join us. And Double C's, Curtis and Colson, I've reached out to Charleston Hughes to see if we can get him on. Last time, he didn't come on camera because he said he didn't have his hair done and he needed a shave. We don't know his current facial hair situation or what the do is looking like. We'll see if we can track him down and come on. Since there is a new CFL commissioner, maybe he's going to be the assistant commissioner. Maybe he already is, and he just hasn't broken that news yet. He's always breaking news on the show. Prairie Land Rentals text line is 306-936-6262. If you would like to be part of what we're doing here this afternoon. And it's time now for Double Talk with Darian Durant. It is Monday afternoon, so let's get ready and go to Darian.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
All right. There's our guy right there. Best part of the week, Monday afternoon. Not a lot of people can say that. Darian, it's been a traumatic day at the Century Studios in Regina. The fancy coffee machine we had in the staff room has been taken out. We don't know why. And it's been replaced by a plain old coffee pot, like a good old glass coffee pot that you make 4 to 6 cups and you pour her in your mug and you walk back to your desk and you put your head down and you keep on trucking. Like, this was a Cadillac coffee pot. It made the thing. Now, are you a Starbucks guy? Are you a coffee bean and tea leaf? Like, what is dairy? Are you a tea? Are you a latte? Like, where do you fall in the scale of the coffee world?
The furthest I would go is a macchiato from Starbucks. Now, my wife, she is huge. Like, she would give her last bit of life savings to Starbucks if she could. She's there every single day, multiple times a day. And what's crazy about it is the coffee she makes at home is just not good enough. She'll have her coffee when she gets up and then go right to Starbucks before work. So it's crazy, man. But me, I just could never get with the craze, but I do understand it. Trust me.
It sounds like, now I'm a married guy and I can pick up on signals. It sounds like you and your wife maybe have discussed her love of Starbucks once or twice and how much she spends and how much she goes in a day. I'm just saying, we don't need to go any further than that. Okay. One of the things that some of the comments we get when we're on to be like, hey, is there ever a chance for us to ask Darian questions? And yes, if there's something you'd like to ask Darian, text us now, 306-936-6262. One of the questions that came in, this is from Brandon. Darian, is there one backup quarterback that was behind you, like Drew Willie, Tino Sinceri, that you thought for sure would make it, and maybe they didn't or didn't have it, but they ended up making it? When it came to the backup situation, were you usually, who were the guys you were like bang on about where they ended up going in their CFL career?
First of all, with Drew Willie, I think Drew was definitely a guy that I saw, who had the potential to be a starter elsewhere. If I had been older at the time, I would be more worried about my job. Honestly, Drew came in. He just picked up on the game so well. He was a student of the game, and he had the physical abilities to go with it. Unfortunately, he suffered some injuries when he got to Winnipeg, but I definitely looked at Drew as a guy who could, be a guy somewhere else in the league. But as far as arm talent goes, I think Tino Sinceri and Chris Leak, those are two of the guys, even though Chris Leak wasn't my actual backup, but just arm talent wise, the way he and Tino could spin it, I've never seen anything like that before.
Really? Maybe I don't remember Tino Sinceri the way you do. Well, okay. You obviously would have seen these guys throw practice balls every day, where we didn't see a lot of that. So maybe we didn't know, because they always say in the CFL, wide field, and it's very easy to figure out who can and can't make all of those throws. That's usually the determining factor, right? All the talent in the world,
for sure.
Can't make the wide side out in the CFL. No chance in the CFL.
Yeah, I think that, the difference was when they got into the game, things start speeding up. You don't take any hits in practice. You can just sit back there all day and make throws if you want. And when you get in the game, it's live bullets. And I think that's what, separated, the thing with Tino from being able to transition that from practice to the game. But I'm just speaking on pure arm talent. Tino definitely is up there.
I think we covered this a while back, but let's recap because this will help us get to our point. When you were a student at the University of North Carolina, what perks did you get as a student athlete? Like, what was included with getting your football scholarship? Like, what went with that?
Well, we received scholarship checks, which was, a couple $1,000 a month to take care of your rent and your food and all the other things, that small necessities and things that you would need. You didn't have to go to class as much as the regular students did. That was another perk. And, I can speak on it now a little bit now that I'm gone, but if you were a, big time, high profile guy, then the boosters would definitely, slip you a couple dollars after each game and make sure that you're well taken care of, and, make sure you don't have to call home. And because a lot of, guys come from, bad backgrounds, and, money was needed. So the boosters would definitely come in and slide you a couple dollars if need be. But other than that, I mean, we were not treated the way these guys are. It's just crazy what's going on nowadays.
So the reason why I ask is because with NIL in NCAA sports over the past couple of years, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. There's not a lot of rules or boundaries, and sooner or later it was bound to get out of control. And I think this story here coming out of Tennessee is exactly what people predicted would happen. So Tennessee is moving on from their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, after he missed meetings and practice on Friday, according to coach Josh Heupel. This kid had about a $2 million a year NIL contract. He was trying to renegotiate to get himself a $4 million per season NIL contract for playing quarterback. He played okay, but he decided to pick himself over the team, and the team said nobody is bigger than the program. The T at the University of Tennessee will always be bigger than even the coaches. And so they cut bait with him. Now the transfer portal is going to open on Wednesday, and he can go and try and find another team. So this is not only a bad situation, but now it came out today. Apparently last year in the playoffs, not only him, but other players on Tennessee went to the team and said, we want more money for our NIL deals or we will not play in these playoff games, basically holding the team hostage. They ended up playing, no word if they got paid any more money. Darian, is this going to be the destruction of college sports when these athletes, a 20-year-old kid says $2 million isn't enough, I need $4 million to play quarterback this Saturday?
I don't think you'll ever see the destruction of college sports. Now, I think you'll see more destruction of individual athletes, guys who have all the talent in the world. And, speaking of this situation, you're at the University of Tennessee. You're at one of the most prestigious universities in America. The talent you have around you is exceptional. So it makes sense to stay and be in a better situation, even if you're making a little bit less. But now, you forced the hand of the team. Coach Heupel let you know that no one's bigger than the team. And now you have to look at going to, a Tulane or North Carolina or UCLA, which doesn't have the talent that Tennessee has. So what you're probably going to see is him go to another school, but not have any success or not nearly the amount of success that he would have had at Tennessee, just because the supporting cast won't be that good. So I think you'll see the destruction of these athletes who are putting themselves on a pedestal when they really don't deserve to be, or they're getting bad advice from these agents or family members who are telling them what they should go after, and they're trying to go after the money instead of being in a good situation. So a lot of athletes are going to just force these schools to cut them, basically, because if you don't fit in, if you're not a part of the program, especially at these schools, man, it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you can find another quarterback, especially a quarterback that only threw 20 touchdowns, right? So you can replace him, and now he's going to be in an even worse situation.
4 years ago, he would have been getting what you got: books, tuition, dorm, a little gas money here, there, some booster. But now, 4 years at even the $2.4 million he was getting, you're leaving college with over $9 million for playing college football, whether you get a sniff at the NFL, CFL, USFL, like bad advice to the nth degree. Like, could you imagine what? Okay, so Darian, if this was you, that is life-changing money for not only you, but for your extended family. Would you not be grateful and take it and Absolutely. Shut up and just be, sure. I won the lottery and I get to play football?
For sure. And I think with this NIL, so now it's going to be like pro ball. You're going to look at the other quarterbacks who've transferred or what these quarterbacks are getting at other schools. And then you're going to compare yourself to this guy and say, okay, well, I think he's looking at Carson Beck, who went to Miami, and Miami gave Carson Beck $4 million, but you don't know the situation that Miami is in. They're a little more desperate than Tennessee when it comes to looking for a quarterback. Cam Ward just left. He brought back some notoriety to the Miami program. So they went after a guy like Carson Beck to try to keep the program at a certain level. But at Tennessee, the supporting cast, the defensive linemen defensive linemen themselves that come to Tennessee are just above and beyond the type of talent that you're going to see at any of these other schools. So, when you're in these situations, you have to think about the team. You have to look at it all as life-changing money and think about the guys before you who a few years ago weren't getting a dime when it came to, some guys. The star players would get a few dollars, but some guys, even though they were starters, wouldn't get any money. So you're in a situation now where you're getting millions of dollars and you're still ungrateful. I think you're going to see the fall of a lot of athletes because of that.
And then when I read that story on Saturday, my brain instantly went to, let's say that he continues on his football career and nothing comes up in the NFL. And then his agent gets a call from a CFL team. Is he really going to want to come and try and play for $125,000 Canadian when you've made $8 to $10 million in college? You're basically playing for free at that point. You're going to have to play for the love of the game. That's the other slippery slope, that the spillover effect will be these spoiled athletes. Who's going to want to come to the CFL? For what?
Yeah, I don't think anyone will. I mean, you're talking about if a guy can, make $9 million, he may see $4 million. I mean, even $3 million at 10% a year is $300,000. So the type of money he'll be making just off interest, if they're being led the right way financially, it wouldn't be worth it for them to come to Canada and get hurt, and it'll be a downgrade in their salary. So it may be tough for the CFL as well. I think, though, more than anything, you'll see more guys who love the game. And I think those are the type of guys who need to be in Canada anyway, guys who love it, guys who will embrace the role of being a quarterback in the CFL.
Last week on social media, Bo Levi Mitchell put out that if they were to win the Grey Cup this year, the Hamilton Ticats, that he's going to retire. Go out on top. If you would have stayed a rider your whole career, did you have a scenario cooked up in your head that if it came to a spot like a Bo Levi, you're on in years, you win a Grey Cup, and you hang it up at the peak?
I never had that moment. After we won the Grey Cup, I was injured, 2 years in a row. And then we had a coaching change and a horrible season. And then I was traded to Montreal. So I never had a successful season like Bo did last year, where you can, hang your hat on an MOP season and then say, okay, I've won an MOP at another spot. Now, if I can get a Grey Cup at this destination as well, I mean, what more does he have to prove? He has Grey Cups and he has MOPs in Calgary. So for him to do it in two different places, of course, I mean, it's time for you to go. And I think he's looking at it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say once you win the championship, but to me, I know as a fan, going to the Grey Cup and losing hurts more than losing out earlier. It's just because your hopes aren't up. Like you can start to not care about the two teams that are going to be in it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I'm feeling, right?
Yeah, it's not as bad. Rookie camp. Well, no, I think we're a month away from training camp. Rookie camp was a week away last week. We're a month away from training camp. The Butterflies. Now, if you weren't in Saskatchewan in the off season and you were coming up, if it's a month before training camp, like back in your rider days, are you already in town, or when did you, if you were living somewhere else, when did you like to come up before camp? What was your timeline?
Yeah, we would come up about a month early, myself and the receivers, the veteran receivers, and just start, getting some light workout days in, getting back acclimated to the atmosphere and the altitude for sure. I mean, the weather's a lot different. You have to get used to the breathing. So you want to get yourself back acclimated with Saskatchewan and the wind and all the elements of being there. So you give yourself about a month, and you just hang out, work out with the guys, find you somewhere. If you don't have a place lined up, you go ahead and get your living arrangements down. So yeah, about a month out would be a good time for veterans to come in town.
I'm sure that there's guys that have never been here that are coming to training camp for the first time. They're going to have no idea what they're getting themselves into, in a good way and in a bad way. So would it be, did you have access to the stadium, but just obviously there could be no coaches around, but would they just sort of like leave the doors open and the lights on and the football's out to be like, hey, do as much as you want. It's up to, because there can't be any interference because it's not playing by the rules.
Yeah, the equipment staff is there. You just schedule a time with those guys to have your clothes and whatever equipment you may need to go out there on the field ready for you. I mean, you're in tune with everything. Now, for the rookies, they wouldn't have as much access to the facilities as the veteran guys. They have to earn their stripes in that aspect. But for us veterans, we just give Gordy a call. We're coming up. Let's get some cleats and some footballs ready, and we're going to go throw it around a little bit.
When you're new, it's one thing, but when you get older, did you like the excitement when you were a couple of weeks out from training camp? Like, was there a certain, feeling in the pit of your stomach that, okay, it's almost go time?
When you're good. I mean, when you're good and you're good and you have a shot at a Grey Cup, then you have the butterflies all over again. You're excited. You're ready for camp. But those years where, look, we know the years where your team is not as good. You saw, back then the moves that Calgary made, or Mike Riley going over to Edmonton and things like that. So you knew when you were good enough to compete, and you knew those were the years that you felt good about it. Luckily for me, most of our years were like that. There were a few that you were unsure about, but most of the years I was very excited and ready to go because I knew that we had a chance to win a Grey Cup.
So it was kind of like someone took away the fancy coffee machine and you knew you were going to be in one all season long before you ever strapped on the pads for the first time.
Long ride, man. You know that.
Oh, that's got to be tough. Some NFL news. The New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr's availability for 2025. I don't know if you read this. Shoulder injury, could be out. What do they do at quarterback? I've always liked Derek Carr. I always thought he got a little too much flack for what he's ever had to work with. He seems like a good dude, and it's not like he's been surrounded with world-class talent every stop he's been in.
I know, man. It's just crazy because, look, it's amazing to be a top pick in a draft. It's your dream. You're going to make a lot of money. But one thing's for sure, you're going to go to a bad football team. So, I don't care who you are. You were going to the Oakland Raiders at the time. You're not going to have a lot of success. So that's why sometimes if you look at Mahomes, he was able to go to a very good team, a team coming off of an AFC championship. So it's just unfortunate. Most of the good quarterbacks are going to go to bad teams, and they're going to have to figure out a way to make it happen with subpar rosters.
Hey, Cam Ward, I mean, it's great on draft night when Roger Goodell shakes your hand, but yeah, you're going to be in one for a long time. And the Mahomes thing, the beauty of being kind of a mid-round pick is it's no different in hockey. Connor Bedard, if he went to a number 10 team, probably be having a whole lot better first 2 years in the NHL, but when you're going to be a savior, it's tough. Joe Flacco signs a 1-year deal to return to the Browns. I like that. It's a little stability. Cleveland is just a disaster, and hopefully he's okay with that. Speaking of top picks, Abdul Carter from Penn State put out a tweet the other day, or he was on Instagram, with a picture of Lawrence Taylor from the New York Giants in the background. Now, some are saying that the Giants are going to be taking him number 3 overall. Have you seen enough from Abdul Carter? Could he be one of those guys that's a game changer on that D-line?
if he's anything like Micah Parsons, for sure. And you have to just look at that Penn State bloodline and the type of athletes, starting with LeVar Arrington and all the guys that have come through there and played defense at that school. So if he's anything like those guys, and if the hype is real behind him, then I definitely see a game changer. He's a 4'4", 40 guy at 240 pounds. You just don't find that. So we'll see. That's the beauty of it, man. All the hype dies down come this summer, and we'll see once you put the pads on.
You mentioned Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys fans, if you're listening, Dak Prescott is confident he will return to full form next season. I don't know what that means. The Dallas Cowboy quarterback, who underwent season-ending surgery on a hamstring injury in November, told reporters this week he's getting close, but if he had to, he could play today, Darian. Take that, Cowboys Nation.
Look, that's good to hear. I mean, you can say what you want about Dak. He's productive. You could also be in a situation like the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns and all of these other teams who are struggling to find a quarterback, who've gone 20 years without a quarterback. So, it's good news to hear Dak is okay.
Refresh my memory, and I'm not trying to be funny. Before he got hurt, how were the Cowboys doing record-wise? Were they okay? Were they 500? Because I know it fell off, but
I don't think they were five. I think they were a game or two below 500, but he was still playing pretty well.
Yeah. The lack of the running game last year really hurt the Cowboys. That's another area. They got to get that squared away. And if Ashton Genty ended up being a Cowboy, I'm back on that bandwagon. I just don't know that he's going to be around.
I don't think so. I think the Raiders or someone earlier go get him. I think he's with Saquon Barkley showing that running backs can lead a team. I think he'll bring back the value at the running back position.
All right. It's Good Friday, this upcoming Friday, and then Easter Sunday. Now with 3 daughters, in your house, has the Easter traditions gone past just chocolate bunnies? Have we evolved into iTunes gift cards and Amazon cards? Like in the Durant household, what is the Easter bunny bringing for the girls, Mr. Bunny?
Roblox gift cards. My wife let the kids get on Roblox, especially my oldest, for her 7th birthday, and she's just hooked, man. So that's the go-to.
So if you show up, or the Easter bunny shows up with just a plain old chocolate rabbit, that's just not going to cut it?
No, she'd be happy with that. They'd be very happy with candy.
Okay,
they love
that's
candy.
good.
I keep candy away from them just long enough for them to love it when they get it. So
nice. That's a good strategy. So I'll let you get to your Easter shopping. I know we've got some stuff around it. I'm still recovering. We had a 10th birthday party last Saturday. So much planning. It's way harder than it used to be. All right. He's your Grey Cup champion, Plaza of Honor quarterback. He's Darian Durant. It's Double Talk on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Darian will join us next Monday, as he always does. Time to take a break. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM.
This is Country Gold with Steve Harmon, your home for the country hits of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Hello, I'm Steve Harmon, inviting you to join me for Country Gold. Each week we play country favorites from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and we check in with the stars who made them, too. This weekend on Country Gold.
Country Gold, brought to you by Trent Dickin and his experienced team at Flooring Superstore. Saturday mornings at 6 and Sunday afternoons at 4 on the Voice of Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
You've heard of Flamin and what we do, but why work here? Here's Melissa, a member of our team for 7 years.
I love working at Flamin. It's just got a little bit of everything that I look for in a job. The people here are great, the employees, customers, suppliers. It's a great teamwork environment. It's just got a good work-life balance, good flexibility, which is important to me as well.
Our people are what make us great. You fit at Flamin. To learn more, visit flamin.com/careers.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at reginaredsox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
Sask Power is working to improve the power system in your area. In order to do their work safely, they need to shut the power off for customers in Regina on the 15 to 1600 blocks of Athol Street, odd numbers, Garnet Street, even numbers, and 32 to 3300 blocks of Dudney Avenue, odd numbers, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow, April 15th, weather permitting. For updates on this outage, visit saskpower.com/outages. Sask Power apologizes for the inconvenience and thanks you for your patience.
Bidding is now open for the timed online farm and livestock equipment auction for CK Parity Farms Limited of Storthoak, Saskatchewan. Register to bid at macauctioncompany.com. Up for auction, a John Deere 9100 four-wheel drive, John Deere 5095 front-wheel assist tractor, a John Deere 9760 combine, Case Puma 140 front-wheel assist, international tandem grain truck, plus a ton of livestock equipment. Thinking of an auction? Call the Saskatchewan Farm Auctioneers today. Bidding closes this Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m.
Howdy, Wood Country Woody here. Last winter, my house was colder than a cast iron toilet and tuck. Brr. So naturally, I went to Wood Country to look at Coltech windows and doors. Turns out, Wood Country's winter book and special is happening right now, and I saved a bundle and a half. It's simple. Get warm. Save money. Order Coltech from Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
Dinner served.
What's this?
Pizza.
Looks like cardboard.
It is. Cut into a circle.
What?
Hope you're hungry.
You wouldn't order cardboard for dinner, and that's not what you get when you order from Western Pizza.
Think I'll order Western Pizza.
They've got their pizza down to perfection. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste. Dine in or takeout. Order today.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
This is Blanche Devereaux.
I'm Rose Niley.
And I'm Dorothy here with Ma.
Picture it. The Golden Girls are back in an all-new show.
Sophia's been busted for selling drugs at Shady Pines. Blanche and Rose created a sex app for seniors. And Dorothy is back on the dating scene. Golden Girls. The laughs continue.
Thursday, August 7th at Connexus Arts Center, Regina. Showtime at 7:30 p.m. See you at the center.
Get tickets now at goldengirlstour.com.
This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Sportscage is brought to you by Kellen Solar. They've got 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or a well without electricity. You can visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. All right, it's time now to go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline and say hi to Rob Hart. He's the play-by-play guy for the Flin Flon Bombers. Rob, welcome back to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing very, very well. Always a pleasure to be on this great program, this great radio station. So thanks for the opportunity here again today.
So before round 2 of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League playoffs started, not a lot of people gave the Weyburn Red Wings much of a chance against the Flin Flon Bombers. But then all of a sudden, the Bombers went up 3-0 and had Flin Flon on the ropes and on the brink of elimination. Tonight is going to be Game 6 in Weyburn. We'll get into that in just a sec. Rob, in those first 3 games, what did Weyburn do well to basically control Flin Flon and not let them play their game?
They just really played good defensively. They just kept everything to the outside, and Flin Flon just had a real tough time, manufacturing good offensive chances. I mean, you look at the stats of those games, the shots are very well deceiving because a lot of the shots from Flin Flon came from the outside. There weren't a lot of quality chances. It was interesting. The series is now 3-2, like you alluded to. The first 3 games, Weyburn forechecked like crazy, didn't allow Flin Flon to do anything. Then the last couple of games, the Bombers have made adjustments. They've been forechecking like crazy, and as a result, are getting some chances the other way. So the forecheck was great for Weyburn early. It's been good for Flin Flon the last couple of games, and I guess we'll see what happens here tonight because it's been a really, really interesting series to cover, to say the least.
It's almost like night and day, and I know that when myself, Dave Thomas, and Jamie Nuggebauer were on, it was almost, we were just picking how many games that Flin Flon was going to win in. Like it wasn't going to be a thing. Nobody, unless you talk to people, nobody thought there was any chance Weyburn would have jumped out 3-0. So the past 2 games, the offense has woken up. Why did that aggressive forecheck just break through? And it seemed like when the goals came, they came in bunches.
Well, I think one of the things that happens too is that when you go down 3-0, you start to, to hold the stick a little bit tight. You start to lose confidence, and a lot of Flin Flon's top performers weren't really going. And this Weyburn team, they finished 3rd overall, and they actually beat the Bombers 3 out of 4 regular season games. I mean, they're a good hockey team. The one thing that Weyburn has showed me in this series, I knew that they were skilled. I knew they had a lot of really good offensive guys, but they're better defensively than I thought, and they're a more physical team than I thought. And I think there's more to this team than people think. They've been under the radar a lot. I mean, obviously a lot of attention's gone to Melfort, to Flin Flon, and I think Yorkton at times has gotten some good fanfare. Weyburn for one of those teams that maybe hasn't got the appreciation they deserve. I'll tell you what, they're a very, very good hockey team, and Flin Flon is going to have to do a lot of things right to try and extend this series past tonight.
They've had 2 chances to eliminate Flin Flon, haven't been able to do it. During the national anthem tonight, who is more nervous about tonight's hockey game, the Red Wings or the Bombers?
Well, according to Mike Reagan, he thinks it's Weyburn, but I got to be honest, I was here last night watching Weyburn skate. We got into town here yesterday. They look like a pretty confident team to me. I know Flin Flon has some momentum coming in. Obviously, being 3-2 compared to 3-0 is a world of difference. But that's an interesting question. And I really think the first 10 minutes tonight are going to dictate who wins this hockey game. Every team that scored first here in this series has won. And we haven't even seen a close game. It seems like when the one team gets the 1 goal, they're able to burst out with another. I think for Flin Flon, they really have to weather the first 10 minutes tonight. I really expect Weyburn to come out hard because they know what's at stake. Let's face it, they don't want to jump on the bus and make another 9-hour trek back up to Flin Flon for Game 7, which will be played on Wednesday.
Oh, I misquoted earlier. I said it was 13 hours back to Flin Flon, but you're saying it's only 9?
No, 9 hours.
Oh, no, 9's enough.
9 and a half, give or take.
Okay. No, okay. But that's enough. And I'm sure they don't want to do that. They would much rather, have a couple days off and then go to Melfort. And we can't look past this, but there are a lot of people that thought the Melfort Flin Flon thing, because of last year, and it just kind of had to happen again. Who tonight for Flin Flon has to come through and have their best game of the series? Outside of Matt Keeper, who up front has got to have a key game tonight?
Well, Keith Kruner for sure. And I mean, he was one of the factors. He had 34 goals in the regular season, and he's one of the guys that had a bit of a slow start, but he had the flu. He's been battling through some injuries and stuff. He got a big goal here to spark them in game number 4, and he also had 2 goals in the last game, including a big shorthanded goal. He'll be key. Ryder Ringer, who, of course, leads all playoff performers with 8 goals, he'll be a key. But I really think when you have 2 teams like this, a lot of depth. I mean, we talk about the top-end guys, but lots of times in situations like this, it's one of those unsung heroes you don't think about that rises to the occasion. And both teams have some good character guys. Both teams, their defense is pretty decent. And like you mentioned, both goaltenders pretty good too. Anthony Keeper, of course, the SJHL MVP and top netminder, but Angelo Zoll for Weyburn, no slouch either. These teams match up so very well, but I guess for Flin Flon, Keith Kruner, I'll go with him because it seems like every time he scores a big goal, they win.
We see it in the NHL. If you're going to win and end up winning a Stanley Cup, you need a great fourth line. Who has a better fourth line, Weyburn or Flin Flon?
You know what? That's a good question. Again, I think both lines are very, very even. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen Weyburn nearly as many times as I've seen the Bombers, so I guess I'll go with Flin Flon's fourth line because I'm just more familiar with them than I am with Weyburn, but they're no slouches either.
Okay. It's Rob Hart, play-by-play guy. Flin Flon Bombers. Got some work to do tonight in Weyburn. It's Game 6, face-off 7 o'clock. All right. When you're in the booth calling the game, everybody's different. Are you a water guy, coffee guy, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi? What's got to be beside you when you're calling a game? Because you've done how many now? You're into the thousands.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's got to be 1,400 plus, I think, now.
Oh, man. Wow. That's crazy.
I started in 97, so yeah, I think it's 1,400 plus now, and it just, and I enjoy it. I mean, I love the SJHL. I love the Flin Flon Bombers, and I just love this great game of hockey. So I'll tell you right now, it's an absolute privilege to get behind the microphone and call games in this great league each night. I find myself very lucky and fortunate to get this opportunity.
Okay, so you're a water guy, a coffee guy, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. What's in the booth with you? But you got to have to drink for you to get your job done.
Water,
just a water guy.
Iced tea.
Ooh.
And iced tea sometimes too, depending on the night. Maybe iced tea tonight.
Not on the bingo card, but if you're looking to switch it up, just a little juju. I'm not saying that hockey players are superstitious. So are the play-by-play guys. Rob, have a great call tonight. Let's see. If people want to listen, they can go to the Flin Flon Bombers website or the radio station website again to catch the call tonight at 7.
FlinFlonOnline.com.
Rob, best of luck this evening. Bombers and Red Wings,
Thank
Game
you so
6.
Much.
Winner go. It's a winner go home for the Bombers. That 9-hour bus ride could be jubilation or it could be sadness. I bet you they're going to pick jubilation. All right. That's Rob Hart on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap the show. Busy game or busy night in the NHL. 6 games. None with real wild card implications in the West. All those teams will play tomorrow. The Canadiens, although it's almost automatic, haven't locked down a playoff spot. They're playing right now. We'll jump into that, and we'll wrap our Twitter poll next. Last chance to vote. Will the Calgary Flames make the playoffs? 2 games left, 2 points out on Twitter. Yes or no at Sportscage. Time to take a break. We are streaming at sportscage.com on our YouTube channel and on the radio right here, 620 CKRM.
Come join an unforgettable evening at the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction on Saturday, April 26th at the Turvey Center. This year's special guest will be Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Corey Mace and offensive coordinator Mark Mueller. Pre-dinner drinks will start at 6 p.m. and dinners at 7. And don't forget the live and silent auction. Tickets are available at ReginaRedSox.com. Get your tickets now for the Regina Red Sox Dinner and Auction Saturday, April 26th. And support Regina Red Sox baseball. Presented by Dusick & Barlow Insurance at SGI Canada. Play ball!
The auction action takes us across Saskatchewan and Manitoba in our spring off-site consignment auction happening April 12th to the 15th. Bid on used equipment like a Ford 9880 four-wheel drive, Case 2388 Combine, Degelman Strawmaster 7000, Brent Green Cart, 2006 Sterling Tandem, 2009 International Tandem, and the list goes on. Check it out online, yacauctions.com, or call us for more information, 306-782-5999.
SaskToday.ca is your local news source, proudly serving communities all across Saskatchewan. Sask Today's team of local journalists are on the ground focusing on local topics that matter to you. From agriculture, local community news, sports, and more. Find it all at SaskToday.ca. Sign up for our daily news digest at SaskToday.ca. From Harvard Media, everywhere.
The Keniston Super Draft is back with the 2025 NHL Playoff Draft. Over $80,000, over 200 cash winners, and 3 ways to win. What teams does a person ride this year? Or will taking a couple of snipers from each team be the strategy this time around? There are a number of ways to get in on the action. 1 entry for $40, or go in with some buddies and get 7 entries for just $200. And the Super 8 add-on is back for even more playoff fun. The Keniston Super Draft, sponsored by the Keniston Lions. Deadline is Tuesday, April 22nd, 6 p.m. Central Time. Superdraft.com.
Truck Month has arrived at Crestview in Regina. Built for power, luxury, and technology, the Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for 2025. and we're celebrating with employee pricing on all new 2025 Ram 1500s. That means savings up to $10,000 and 0% financing is available too. Plus, save up to $30,000 on an amazing selection of demo units. It's Truck Month, only for a limited time at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Louis Dreyfus Yorkton, expanding to meet the canola needs of tomorrow. Once again, canola markets have been tossed into uncertain territory, but know that LDC is here for the long haul. The nearby months are filling fast, so call Louis Dreyfus today and ask about our very competitive basis levels and lock your canola in before space is gone. Canola delivery Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. LDC Yorkton, a name you know, a name you can trust. 1-877-782-8882 or ldcyorkton.com.
Sprayer controls are all set up. You good to go now?
Yup. Is the GPS guidance system set up there too?
Yeah, you're all ready. Get out there.
When you get everything you need from Farmtronics, you know you'll be all set for this spring. With everything from sprayer controls and GPS guidance systems to weather stations and backup cameras, you'll oversee your entire operation with confidence. See Farmtronics, 380 Henderson Drive, or call 1-800-667-8001.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262. Powered by Prairie Land Rentals. They've got everything you need for your projects. 600 Albert Street. PrairieLandRental.com. Sportscage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com, on our YouTube channel, and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports. 620 CKRM.
The Jays are back home, starting a series with the Atlanta Braves. Third inning, Braves up 4-0. It's Maz in for Barney, along with the double C's, Colson and Curtis. Can I just get a consensus here? I think I know where I'm going to fall on this, probably as a lone wolf, standing by myself on this issue. Colson and Curtis, where are we with breakfast restaurants? Like going out for breakfast and paying lunch and dinner prices for breakfast.
Love it. I love breakfast food. It's actually brunch club anytime, someone's like, let's go for brunch, I'm down.
Colson, what about you? Like spending $20 to $30 some on breakfast food, mind you.
I love breakfast food. I do not love spending $20 or $30 on breakfast food unless I'm getting a full plate of breakfast food.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing, and not a shocker, we disagree. I met somebody, a work colleague on Saturday morning at a breakfast restaurant. And here's the thing, I'm very grateful I did not pay, but the prices on the menu for what I was seeing, like, should the 2-egg toast, 2 strips of bacon breakfast be $21.95? When it used to be at a lot of places, $5.95, $7.95, $8, $10.95. Like, I felt bad, but there wasn't really many cheaper options on the menu. I was hungry. I was going to have something.
Are they dinosaur eggs or like chicken eggs?
Oh, no. Colson, you'd said you want a full plate. Believe you me, when they brought that over, it was like Art Deco spaced beautifully with a lot of porcelain plate or ceramic in between, separating each item. I'm like, and then she's like, and what kind of toast would you like? I'm like, I wasn't gonna eat. I'm like, I don't know why. She's like, oh, that would be brioche. And I'm like, and why wouldn't it be brioche? And I said, it's probably not Wonder Bread, right? And she just didn't. No, there's no.
I'm kind of hungry now. Just like thinking about breakfast food, which is like surprisingly filling sometimes. Like if you ever had like a breakfast bowl where like they put it over like hash browns or whatever, you're like, this isn't that much food. And then you start eating it and you're like, oh, this is a lot of food. That was like 2 whole potatoes there and like a couple eggs and and whatever else you get.
Unless we're on vacation, my good Saskatchewan roots and upbringing says I don't mind going out for lunch or going out for dinner. I'm not calling it dinner. It's supper, okay? We're from Saskatchewan. It's called supper. I'm tired of people want to correct. It's supper, but not breakfast. Not dinner prices at breakfast time, you guys could be your Eggs Benedict, which I would never eat anyways. If it's $30 somewhere, you're probably like, all right, hey, that's a good deal. I'm all in.
Well, it depends what you get on it. Like if you get something that's like if you get like smoked salmon on it or something, or you get like some good quality steak or something, then it's good. Then maybe I'll pay a little bit more.
If you're getting some high quality protein on it, okay, now I can understand where the $30 is coming from. But
a piece of salmon, and I'm sorry, but if the guy has a man bun, he doesn't know how to cook a good piece of quality steak. I'm just going out on a limb.
What are you talking about? You know what? It's actually a part of Curtis' lore that my very first job was working at a steakhouse, Maz. Fun fact.
Were you okay? But were you the chef, or were you a busboy?
I was actually a line cook because they were just opening this restaurant and they needed people. And I actually applied to be a host, and they're like, would you be okay maybe being like half host, half on the line? And I was like, sure, why not? And next thing you know, I was just a line cook.
Anybody listening to this that raises cattle, or anybody that enjoys a good steak, the host of a restaurant should never be also the guy cooking. Beef is a commodity and needs to be treated as such. All right. One game in the Western Hockey League tonight. It's the Spokane Chiefs and the Victoria Royals. Spokane won last night 4-3 in double overtime. So don't tell me the name of that restaurant. I don't want to know. I'm probably going to, because some poor person that's probably going to seat me may have to run back to the kitchen, throw on an apron, and cook up that steak sandwich. In other action in the Western Hockey League, the Hurricanes lead the Calgary Hitmen. Game 3 is tomorrow night. They're up 2-0. Game 3 is in Lethbridge. Medicine Hat Tigers leading the Prince Albert Raiders 2-0. Game 3 will be Wednesday night in PA. And the Everett Silvertips are leading the Portland Winterhawks 2-0. Game 3 tomorrow night in Portland. Are they still called the Winterhawks, or did they change their name? Am I all wrong on that? They changed their logo, but they didn't change their name, correct?
Portland?
It just struck me as I read it. Exactly. They had to change because they were the Chicago Blackhawks logo for the most part. So I know they had to change that, but the name is the same. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I wasn't a host and a line cook at the same, on the same shift. It would have been one or the other. It's like today you're doing this or today you're doing that. Just to clarify, but I never actually did both. I just only ended up cooking steak and whatnot,
Nice. The Winterhawks changed their logo in 21.
Yeah, I knew that to change the logo, but the name is the same.
They also changed their name in 2009 because before that it was the Winter Space Hawks. And then in 2009, the space retired and it was just Winterhawks, one word.
Efficient.
Yeah. By the way,
there's a fun fact you're not getting on any other sports show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another fun fact, our Twitter poll for today, by a wide margin, 64% not a chance are the Flames making the playoffs.
Okay. Well,
their fate is not in their own hands, I feel like. It just is what it is. If they get a chance, awesome. If they don't, then you can't do nothing.
Tomorrow night, the Minnesota Wild will play the Anaheim Ducks. And the St. Louis Blues are going to play the Utah Hockey Club. Now, obviously, both of those teams are in playoff mode and they need to win. It doesn't matter what kind of lineups they're going to field. And unfortunately, the Flames have to play Vegas tomorrow. And we talked with Eric Francis earlier. Vegas still has to ice some sort of lineup. They can't put out their whole AHL squad of the Henderson Silver Knights. They just can't. And then it doesn't get any easier for the Flames if they were to beat Vegas, because then the LA Kings come to town. And that's tough. Even with big save Dave Radek in net and not Darcy Kemper, that's a good Kings club that's been playing some great hockey. It's going to be an exciting 36 hours till we know how all of this shakes down. Hey, thanks to everybody that's been on the show today. If you missed any of it, Eric Francis, Darian Durant, Rob Hart, and Ben Tompkins, play-by-play guy of the Melfort Mustangs, you can go back and catch the podcast of the Sportscage. You can watch it on YouTube or Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. For the Double C's, Curtis and Colson, it's Maz here. Have a great night.
Sask Lotteries has 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Help us grow the next 50. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Saskatchewan potash fuels more than just crops. It fuels communities and economies. As the world's largest potash producer,